Hello. Oh, Ryan's here.
Oh, just in time.
Just in time. We started without you, but you're here. Okay, let me fix this. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sci-Fi on Trial. What's up, Night Foundation? Adam, what's happening? Thanks, man. This is it, the big night. We are putting Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, on trial, and I'm so excited. So good to see everybody. Welcome to the show. What's up, it's Hulky. Good to see you guys. So we're joined tonight by our tribunal of nerds. We've got Jenny Krantz. What's up, Jenny? And we've got Ryan Casey. How you doing, Ryan?
Good. Hello.
So we're also going to be joined by Douglas Gale. He's on his way. He'll be here soon. But we're going to get started because we have so much to talk about. So before we get started today, something very special. We've been talking about how Jenny's been making these amazing candles with all sorts of fun, nerdy art on it. And I just got mine in the mail, and I'm so excited about it. So I wanted to show it off. So here's my ET candle. It's so pretty. It's so nice. And there's a little votive inside. And it came with a candle in it, which I'm so excited about. And it smells really good. Is it lavender?
Yeah, I gave you a lavender one. I'm like, I hope because I have a couple scented ones and a couple unscented, and I was like, I hope I don't know, maybe it'll be relaxing.
Oh, I put that
like allergic.
I put the candle in upside down. You cannot light the bottom. I love lavender candles. I've never seen a scented votive candle. I've only seen like the giant bags of unscented ones. So here we go.
Yeah, I've been experimenting with actual candle making.
Oh, really? First time lighting it.
Well,
look at that. It's so
made
cool.
Those candles too.
You made the candles too? Oh my god.
Yeah, like actually pour the wax and like make them myself.
No way. Look at it flickering there. It's so cool. I love this. And with like the lights out, it'll be even cooler. So this is going to be here on my table, making my apartment smell delicious. And Adam donated for that, so I thank you so much. That was so sweet. And then Jenny actually ended up giving it to me as a gift for the holidays. So everyone's so amazing. You guys make me feel very special. Thank you very much. What's up, Ghost Boo? Good to see you. Yes, and Jenny has some awesome new Star Wars ones. She was just showing them off to me. Can you tell us about that, Jenny?
Yeah, I finally got those up. So I was excited. Kept me busy watching these movies, watching the prequels.
Yeah. And Ryan, we forgot to talk about this last week, but you started a new podcast recently, and I love it. I think that I am your biggest fan. I'm like rabidly awaiting the next episode.
It'll be coming soon. Hopefully, we're trying to do it every 2 weeks, but we're not getting paid, so something happens.
Yeah.
Thank you, though. That is very nice. Yeah.
Tell us about the podcast and where people can find it.
It's called Game Pass, and me and Doug, who you may or may not know, who may or may not be with us very shortly. We are both friends, but I used to live in Seattle. Now I live in Los Angeles, so we didn't get to talk to each other much. But then a miracle happened, and Doug bought an Xbox, and I already had an Xbox. And so we've been playing Xbox games, and they have like a Netflix for games called Game Pass, where you get like 100+ games. So Doug and I are playing alphabetically through the catalog and arduously reviewing each game to see whether it's worth playing or not. Most of them are. They're pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm loving it. And I don't have an Xbox, and I've never played any of the games. And speaking of Doug, here he comes.
Whoa! Speaking of me, here I am.
Hey, Doug, what's up, man?
Just plugging the podcast.
Hello.
I'm going to turn you down a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you gotta turn
Should I not yell as much?
You yell as much as you want.
No,
I am here. I think I even have.
There he is. Okay, let me get that volume off the screen. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. There we go.
Oh,
This is a technological marvel that we've got going on here. What's up, Joe? Welcome.
Such a chin angle.
it's looking good.
Doug, we've missed you in our Star Wars streams for months now. We're so glad to have you back. I see a frozen Doug face.
Better than no Doug face.
That is better than no Doug face. That would be awesome, actually, if his face never unfroze.
Frozen Doug better than no Doug.
What's up, Axon Media? That's Justin. Speak of the Doug and he shall appear. Also, we got to get a link to Justin's, what was it, your Instagram where you posted that animation you made? Because that was so cool. I'm so stoked about that. Everybody involved is making such awesome shit. You guys are the best. Anyway, Joe, your topic suggestions were awesome. I've gone through and refined it to my taste as well, but I really appreciated that. Joe sent me a breakdown of episode 2 before I'd made it myself. All right, y'all. You ready for the trial of Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones? Because I am ready. I guess that's a maybe.
I'm ready.
It cuts. The audio cuts out for me a little bit. So if I ever look like confused looking at the screen, just know, because sometimes I'll just for like a 10-15 seconds I won't hear anything. So if I'm like just kind of looking like this, it's probably because I can't hear. So
yeah.
I'm just like
I also I experience this as well.
I'm getting the same thing, but just from Jesse though.
Oh really?
Yes, I'm just getting it from Jesse as well.
Oh no, that's not good at all. Well, can the chat? I think people live can probably see me. People in the chat. It might just be a Discord issue.
They can hear in the chat.
Yeah.
Fine, I'm going to drop out and join the chat. Figure it out. But, we'll just go with it. It'll be fine. I'll use the Force.
So Knight says he can see me. Can everyone hear everyone okay? It's all looking good? All right. Fantastic. Let us know. Okay, so we are going to jump into the trial of Attack of the Clones. There's so much to go through, but we're going to start with our opening arguments.
It's already like the best comment ever. Our sexual frustration in space. That is like the best thing I've ever seen. Episode 2, sexual frustration in space. That's awesome. Oh man.
Nice. Adam's adding a command for the Game Pass podcast. It's called Game Pass.
Yeah, Game Pass. Yeah, it's on like Apple. It's just on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah. What's up, DJ Riolu? Yeah, Doug, I was just telling Ryan how much I love your guys' podcast. You know what's so great about it is like I've never been able to listen to you two on a podcast without having to record it and edit it and release it. So this is like no work. I just get to enjoy it and I love it. It's great.
This is what I heard. You know what I love about your podcast is that.
Oh no!
And then when I have to.
What a bummer.
So, thank you.
Okay, maybe I should.
Getting like a...
Well, that's not going to work. Let me try dropping out and rejoining. Let's see if that works. So, Jenny, you're in charge. Oops.
You guys.
Should I get my toys? Toys around.
I'll show you all my toys.
I have a Lord of the Rings sword.
Ooh, fun. I do actually want to see that. Is it Glamdriel?
I believe that it is Aragorn's ranger sword. So I don't know if that's magical or not.
Uh-oh.
That one is...
It's not Narsil.
Can you guys hear me?
Is that Nightcrawler?
Yeah.
There we go. I'm back. Can you guys hear me and see me?
We were all showing each other our toys.
I realized that
we're all grown-ass adults.
I realized if I dropped out, then it went off of the screen for... You guys all went off the screen for everybody. Hi, Andy's here. Andy, do you want to hop in and say hi?
I have a game night
okay.
right now, but
okay.
I want to see these faces. Hi.
Look, Andy's here.
It's my little Bluetooth speaker.
Oh, hi, Andy.
Hi, I can't hear any of you, but you all look great.
I was going to try to mess with the speaker.
It's fine.
It's all so complicated.
But I do want to say this candle is so cool.
Good.
This is the first time I'm seeing it.
Oh, the candle,
yeah. Maybe it's better.
Oh, it's awesome.
It's better for you guys? Okay, great.
I think so.
I love it with the candle lit inside. The stars look like stars.
Yeah, isn't that awesome? And if we turn the lights out later, it'll be even better.
Oh, it's so cool.
Look, there's all the Andys in chat.
Hi, everyone. Oh, man, I'm bummed to miss this, but I know there'll be many more in the future.
Yeah. Oh, we'll have fun.
Okay. Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, people.
Hi, Andy.
So we're going to start with our opening arguments. This is where we are going to all rate the movie from 1 to 10. And we're going to guess what the final rating is going to be. And then we're going to go through our intricate detail, go through the entire movie, rate everything along the way, average all those ratings out at the end, and see what the actual rating is. So I'm going to kick us off on this movie. I love the first 2/3 of Attack of the Clones. I'm saying it. I feel like the beginning of this movie, the first 2/3 of it, pretty damn great. And then it just all goes to shit as soon as Anakin and Padme arrive on Geonosis and they're fighting in the droid foundry. All the rest of it, I just don't like. I do like the lightsaber. I mean, man, the last like third of the movie is rough. Uh-oh, are we frozen? Can you guys see and hear us? It looks like we are all frozen.
Oh no.
Oh no, we're back.
The screen.
Nothing wants to work tonight. I think we're good. Stream is down, froze. Are we back? Are we back? I think we're back. And we're back. Okay, good. Temporary problem there. Yeah, so I really, really like the first 2/3, and then I feel like it gets really rough. And I just don't know how good the movie is as a whole because of that. You know, like some of the stuff with Anakin and Padme is just so cringy and so bad. Like Padme admitting her love to Anakin, like, I truly, deeply love you. It's like the worst moment in all of Star Wars. But, you know, the whole beginning is great, and like there's a lot of stuff in the middle that I really like. And overall, I mean, I really enjoyed the movie, but the ending just leaves such a bad taste in my mouth. So like overall, I feel like I like it a lot more than episode 1, but then there's maybe points that are lower than episode 1. What do you guys think? Let's start with Doug.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than episode 1. I agree with you that the ending is really weak, and the relationship stuff is the worst part of it, which is too bad because it could have been really an interesting take on a humanizing version of Darth Vader, you know, because now we're actually seeing him as not an adult, but, you know, like a young man. And it just isn't, I don't know, that part's not handled well. But overall, I do still really enjoy the movie despite those flaws.
Justin says, I don't think George Lucas know how love works. What about you, Jenny?
It's hard because I actually really enjoy almost all of this movie, like, except everything having to do with the love story, and everything having to do with the love story I hate more than anything else in Star Wars.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's really tough, and that's such a pivotal thing that he effed up, because it's like, these are Luke and Leia's parents. I can't stand I mean, there's just literally moments like I just wanted to skip past the romance dialogue, but almost everything else I really like. And I don't know, Jesse, I was telling Jesse, I watched this last night, but I was like working on my painting stuff, so I wasn't like paying 100% attention. And then I tried to watch it today with my full attention. I didn't make it to the end because I actually wanted to watch the end, because you said in chat that you thought it fell apart. I actually liked even the ending. I like Geonosis. I like everything with Camino. I don't know. I mean, are we giving ratings now, right? We're giving
We'll do that in a second. I'm going to share the link in a second.
Okay. But yeah, like I actually really would say that I like this movie. Everything besides, I mean, with not everything, but, you know, again, besides the love story, I thought it was really enjoyable. I liked it more than I remembered I did. So,
how about you, Ryan?
I liked it less than I remember.
Wow.
I remember when I saw this when it came out, I remember leaving the theater being like, that was kick ass. Because I was just excited about Yoda sword fighting. I kind of forgot everything else. But like, rewatching it today, it made me mad that I like Star Wars. It's like I just
no.
It like really some of the just really big choices that he made, like plot wise, really I hate, and I feel like this is where he kind of lays it all out, and I'm like, I do not like any of this.
Wow.
There's parts of it that are
It's gonna be a fun discussion.
Yeah.
But like,
because
I
liked it more than I remembered, so I'm surprised to hear that, and that's great because we want to have different opinions on this show for sure.
I liked it less, but I still like it pretty good.
Well, let's find out exactly how much we like it. Here is the link to the poll.
I do not think that it is better than. I think the Phantom Menace is better. I think I like it more.
People are saying
bold.
People are saying glitches. Oh no, that's just my chat catching up. Okay, so the poll is in the chat. Everyone click that. Go ahead and vote. This is the preliminary voting. This will not count for the final score. We're just taking the temperature of what everyone thinks. So, Doug, do you see the link in the chat?
I don't see chat.
So it's in, I went through this last time.
Yeah.
If you go to the actual stream on YouTube and look in the YouTube live chat, it's there.
Oh, I had that up, but I felt like I'm stealing bandwidth away from myself by having that open as well.
Well, you can pause the playback of the stream when you open it up and still watch the chat. That's what I like to do. Yeah. Okay, so everyone's voting on the chat, and then we're going to have our panelists vote as well. But I want to keep track. This is the one thing where I keep track of everyone's votes. So let's start with Jenny. What are you voting?
I'm feeling pressured because of other people. You know what? I'm going to stick with I'm going to 7.
Yeah.
Which is I enjoyed. It's not a great movie, but I think with Star Wars, like just enjoying it is, goes a long way. So, yeah.
How about you, Ryan? I gave it a 5. I had trouble suspending my critical mind, just enjoying this. As much as I maybe even have on past viewings, and as much as I can do, I give leniency to the Phantom Menace, but this I judge more harshly, and I gave it a 5, which is still half good.
That's half. That's better than nothing. How about you, Doug?
Yeah, I was just clicking the 7 button at the same time as our previous guest was voting. So yeah, I'm also going with the 7.
Yeah, this one's tough for me because I give Phantom Menace a 6, and I like this more, but I don't think I like it quite.
You backed yourself into a corner, you fool!
But I don't like it quite a 7, so I'm gonna give this a 6 as well. Because I don't know how it balances out. Like the stuff I like and the stuff I don't like. I'm just not sure how it balances out.
6 and 7 too. It's a tough one.
I need to add it. So my math is going to be wrong because I didn't add Doug in here. So let's see. I'm going to move this one over here. I'm going to add a Doug line.
We're throwing out votes already. I see how this is. Voter fraud. Voter fraud.
And then I got to click on the link and vote as well. All right. So I'm giving it a 6. Has everyone voted that wants to vote?
I should have voted. I think I voted. I didn't.
Okay, let's take a look at our responses. We got a bunch of responses. Wow, look at this. Okay, and I'm going to create a spreadsheet.
Well, it's getting official.
It's getting official, and then I get to average it all out. So let's see the average of everyone in chat. All right. Where is my thing? Insert, there it is. Insert function. There's no fast way to do this, unfortunately. Okay, here it is. The average of chat is a 5.1.
Boo. Boo.
Ooh, seems like my votes are in line with the chats.
Yeah.
This time.
So Doug gave it a 7.
I'm always
chat gave it a 5.1.
surprised when I see my friends like ranking Star Wars movies. That's like a post you see a lot. And this one, surprising to me, always winds up like in most people's bottom 3 movies, if not consistently the last movie.
Yeah.
Which is always shocking to me.
That surprised me too. Sorry, go ahead, Jenny.
I'm surprised how many times I see it ranked below Phantom Menace. Like, because I think Phantom Menace is my bottom, but I've seen this one quite a bit below.
Yeah. So right now, the average of everyone is all of our votes plus chat is a 6.02. And this is kind of a weirdly weighted vote because we've all voted, like the people on screen have also voted on the thing off screen. So that you can ignore that. It's a 5.1. It's a 5.1. But we're going to go through and see exactly who was closest. So bonus points if anyone gets the closest. And last time, our preliminary vote was almost exactly what the final tally turned out to be. So I'm curious to see if that happens again.
Sorry, I'm laughing at chat.
Yeah.
Yes, I think Solo's on the
Just
bottom.
in the Curlian freighter full of floating.
I know, I love it. All right, people. Well, let's jump into section 1. So we're going to talk through section 1, and then I got a bunch of things for us to vote on in section 1. But we're going to talk through it first. So section 1 of the film is the opening sequence. It's going to include the title crawl, Queen Amidala, or former Queen, now Senator Amidala, arriving on Coruscant, where her ship is blown up. Palpatine meets with Amidala, decides that she needs Jedi protection. We're introduced to Anakin and Obi-Wan, who report to Amidala. They have their reunion. And then they protect her from evil space bugs trying to eat her while she sleeps and chase down a bounty hunter. So I'm including all of that as the opening sequence. And let's start with the title crawl. I've pulled it up for us to analyze. And I feel like this is a big difference between the episode 1 title crawl. This one's a lot better in my opinion. So there is unrest in the Galactic Senate. Several thousand solar systems have declared their intentions to leave the Republic. This separatist movement, under the leadership of the mysterious Count Dooku, has made it difficult for the limited number of Jedi Knights to maintain peace and order in the galaxy. Senator Amidala, the former Queen of Naboo, is returning to the Galactic Senate to vote on the critical issue of creating an army of the Republic to assist the overwhelmed Jedi. And I gotta say, why not just get rid of episode 1 and just start right here? Because this is like a much more interesting place to start. Like the Republic is starting to fall apart. There's a separatist thing happening. They're talking about building an army of the Republic. I feel like it's all kind of cool and exciting and interesting. Not like last time where it's like, oh no, the greedy Trade Federation has stopped all shipping to the small planet of Naboo. What do you guys think?
They wanted to. It starts a small rumbling, teeny, just one system, and then it spreads from there. And like you had to find that kid, and have him. Now he's a Jedi, so yeah, it easily could have also just lost the whole first movie.
Yeah, I feel like
this movie.
I feel like this title crawl is good enough that we just get rid of the first movie. Who's for it? Motion on the floor.
No, denied.
Oh, damn it.
As long as we keep the duel of the fates.
Yeah.
In the last.
That's true.
We just got to keep that somehow.
That's true. I mean,
I don't want to rehash Phantom Menace, but I mean, it serves its purposes. It's just didn't serve it well. I would vote for mashing together these two because I would love if they had young Anakin as part of the story, but then like snap it up. Like we don't need a whole movie with baby boy Anakin. Like jump him up in age quickly, you know?
They could have done like flashbacks or something.
And then you can have a young, not Natalie Portman, you can have someone else who's young, and so it doesn't have that weird thing of like, why is Natalie Portman hot for this 9-year-old, you know? Have like another child actor playing young Padme.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Padme, she then shows up on the platform, and I feel like this whole sequence where they blow up her ship is George Lucas saying, "See, this is why she needed a decoy." You know, it's like this is why that was important. I'm kind of
shitty job too.
Oh, I know, totally.
I will also say one more thing about the crawl.
Yeah,
it was one of the first places where I start to have issues with it's like plot choices. Why don't they already have an army?
That is literally the first note in my notes was, why do they not have an army? How did they become this federation without the army?
I think it's cool. I like it.
They have the Jedi.
Yeah.
My theory, budget cuts. Someone was like, defund the military, and then this is what happens. This is how you get clones, people.
Okay, my thought is that
This is how you get clones.
Like this Galactic Republic represents the entire galaxy. There is no opposition party until the Separatists come around. So they don't need an army because they're not fighting against anyone else. They have the Jedi, who are the keepers of the peace, and they are sort of like these magical creatures that I think a lot of people probably fear because they're kind of magical. And I hope that the High Republic books that are about to come out in like 2 days will go into this. I'm super stoked to read some of those. But I kind of like the idea that they don't even have an army because there is no like militarized element of this government. The government just exists to try to help people, but it's failing. And that's why the separatist movement is gaining traction. And now we need an army to defend against the thing that was created, the separatists, because we are failing at our jobs. I think it's kind of an interesting political situation.
It's a classic Star Wars situation where they set up this big, bold thing that could make sense with context, which they do not provide you in this movie, if ever. You know, like this movie, I think, gets so much better after watching the Clone Wars cartoon because the CGI one, because it fills in so much and makes so much more of the story make more sense.
I totally agree.
I think I like it more this time around. Now that I've seen the Clone Wars and Rebels and all that, like that's why I know this. Like I'm enjoying it a lot more because the Clone Wars has filled in not even just with plot points, but character development. Like I love Obi-Wan Kenobi and even Anakin. I kind of still hate Anakin Skywalker sometimes in these movies, but even him I like more just knowing his character from the Clone Wars. Like it's filled in a lot.
That's something that really struck me this time is like the Anakin character in the Clone Wars is not at all the Anakin character from Attack of the Clones. Like, Anakin in Episode 3 is closer to what we have in the Clone Wars, but he's so different, like, immediately in the Clone Wars. And they made him more likable. They made him, like, a more...
There's a lot of growth between this movie and then the series.
Yeah, they made him, like, a more well-balanced human being.
He's so unlikable.
Yeah.
Hey,
what's up, Max? Thank you.
He's so unlikable in this movie. It's rough, and I know it's he's the villain, but you gotta remember this is not the hero's journey. Like this is the villain's journey, so it would make sense that he's kind of an asshole and that he's there and all these things. But I don't know. They hit you over the head with it in the wrong ways. Like it's done so obnoxiously that it's rough.
Yeah, I think we're getting some stream issues again. Stream. Even if it's just choppy, can you still hear and see us? Let us know. We seem to be dropping a whole bunch of frames. Yep, nope, I think the stream is frozen. Let's see if it'll fix itself.
Bye-bye, stream!
Oh, Adam can see and hear us fine. Okay, well, let's just keep going. YouTube is just mad at me today.
Oh, if we're frozen, I'm gonna...
What's up, Amanda?
Oh, so do I see?
Okay, you can see and hear us, but it's choppy.
I was thinking that... So this first... Oh.
Still here, just lagging. My computer is
one or the other.
Struggling today. I'm not sure why. Let's see. I'm going to close everything I don't need. But it's not the capture card, no. Save changes. Okay. There we go. There we go. What's up, Wind Waker? Okay, it's looking good. I think we're back. Sorry, that's so distracting. Oh
this
my god.
This is when I feel guilty. Like I should turn off my video. I'm using too much video.
No, it's on my side, I'm sure. I'm doing a lot on this side. I have like all these tabs open with all the polls and everything. Okay, well, yeah. So let's get back on track here. So let's talk about the scene where Padme's ship explodes, because I don't really like this scene. I feel like it's kind of an awkward way to start the movie. It's kind of a melodramatic thing where like her bodyguard dies and it's like, oh, I failed you. It's like, no, you just died so that I could live. That is not you failing. And it makes me feel bad.
Your job.
Yeah.
I also just have to say, like, one of my notes was, like, just right off the bat, I cringed. Like, her captain or whatever, where they step off the ship. Like, it reminds me of, like, an elementary school play. Walks off. Well, I'm glad nothing went wrong. We got there safely.
Yeah.
Oh no! Like it's so like it's just like the perfect example of just George Lucas bad dialogue, like terrible. Like that's literally what it reminded me is like an elementary school play. Like
that's so.
I was worried
funny.
that we were really gonna blow it.
I guess we were. Yeah, I guess we had nothing to worry about. Explosion, like it just was, and yeah, it's not a great start.
Yeah,
not a great start.
I said the exact same thing when I was watching it to Andy. I was like, "This feels like a middle school stage play," and not just like the dialogue, but also like the kind of clunkiness of the staging of it. I mean, you can tell that they are on a stage, on a green screen stage, and like nothing else is real. Like you can really kind of feel that when you're watching it.
Can I derail for a second?
Oh, I turned you down way too much, Doug. Yes, derail. I'm gonna turn you back up as you talk.
Apparently, I can't.
Go for it.
After finishing the movie today, I watched the deleted scenes, and there's a beautiful deleted scene that's like a 4-minute extended version of the Geonosia fight, but it's like it looks like shit posting because it's no effects. They're on the green screen, and it'll be like a chunk of an animal, like a monster, just like in a block floating across the screen. If you really want to get an idea of what it looks like in reality while they're making this, that extra is totally worth watching.
Nice.
It's hilarious. I laughed so hard watching that.
Can you send it to me? I want to see it.
I mean, it's on. I just watched the movie on Disney Plus. It was in the extras.
Oh, really? Oh, great.
Oh.
I didn't even know that existed. Yeah. Great. I didn't know that.
Go to the extras, and then it's like the second or third to last one. It's the one that's 4 minutes long, and it's like an extended battle scene of Geonosia.
Sweet.
It's fucking hilarious. It's so good.
Nice. Okay, so that scene I feel like is a little clunky, but then I actually really like when we meet with Palpatine and he's like working his machinations. He's trying to get, Anakin and Padme in the same place together, because you know that he knows that, like, in order to turn Anakin to the dark side, he's got to get him attached to Padme. And then there's also this sense that, like, they know each other for a while. Anakin and Palpatine have a history. So he's probably talked about Padme or something like that. So the way he kind of maneuvers the situation, I think, is great. Classic Palpatine. It's like one of those political scenes that I think really works in the movie.
Yeah, almost every scene he's in, I really like. Like, I like what they did with the Emperor. He's just the way he kind of moves things around in the background. I thought they did a good job of portraying him.
Yeah. What do you guys think of the introduction of Anakin and Obi-Wan? Because I love this too. I think it's so good.
What did they do? I can't remember now. They just walk in the door?
I love Obi and Anakin, but I found watching this movie, I think their banter is a little awkward at first. I feel like it takes them a while to kind of get their stride. Like, there's just kind of, I know what they're trying to do, and they're trying to and again, now seeing the Clone Wars, I like it a lot more, and I get them a lot more, but I found it a little awkward at first. Like, I can tell they're trying to, like, banter, but it's just a little, again, it's just George Lucas script.
Yeah.
Weirdness.
I like it.
Overall, I like them a lot. I mean, I love Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's probably one of my favorite characters. I love Ewan McGregor.
Yeah. Ryan, there's that scene where they're like coming up in the elevator to go meet with Padme and
talking about Gundarks.
Yeah, and I feel like this is the first time that Ewan McGregor has fully embodied Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's also, he's older.
Yeah.
He's like grown. They both obviously grown a lot, and they have all this history together and this sort of father-son relationship, but also Anakin is like a really headstrong student, and Obi-Wan is trying his best to teach him, but is also like, this is his first student. He took him as a Padawan like the day that he lost his Qui-Gon. So I like all of it. Like, I like the performances here. I like the history between these characters. I like that there's this hint of darkness surrounding Anakin, but that there's also this lightness with him too. This is the first time I've ever really, liked it. Like before, I'm like, what is going on with this guy? But now when I watch it again, I'm like, oh, he is, gonna be Darth Vader. So obviously he has to be like a little off. And I feel like they captured that kind of well. And I hated it when I was a kid and I watched it for the first time. I'm like, why is Anakin just like such a bad actor? But I don't think that's what's happening. I think that he's doing a really good job of like being a little bit off in this movie. What do you guys think?
I think that saying to yourself, oh yeah, that guy is Darth Vader, repeatedly throughout this movie is a very fun way to watch it. So like when he jumps out, I'm jumping ahead of scene, but when he jumps out of the speeder and then when he's hanging on, and fighting through, you're like, that's Darth Vader. That's Darth Vader doing all that stuff. It really adds a layer to the movie that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Consciously, continually reminding yourself that's Darth Vader.
Yeah, like when he's giving creepy eyes to Padme when he finally sees her again. It's like,
that's Darth Vader.
That's Darth Vader.
That's Darth Vader.
It makes my skin crawl.
He's so Vader.
His looks
coming this fall
I know.
Disney Plus.
I know. And
He's
like
so
I
horny.
have to remind myself that too. He is the villain, but it's so creepy, like his little like creepy smiles, and it's also weird like that he tells Obi-Wan right off the bat, he's like, her presence is intoxicating.
Yeah.
like I was surprised Obi-Wan right there was like, okay, yeah, no, this isn't gonna work. No, you're not going to Naboo with her. Obi-Wan should have shut that shit down like right then and there. As soon as he called her intoxicating. No.
Anakin spent too much time with Watto, and that just really poisoned his mind about how to view other people, especially women that you're attracted to as an adult.
Yeah, I mean, when you carve someone a Japor snippet, you mean business.
His first father figure of sorts owned his mom. That's not healthy.
Ugh. Yeah, it's so awkward.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. No, I give him a pass. Like and also the Skywalkers, I mean, they're a whiny bunch. Like, Luke was whiny too. So is Ben Solo. It's kind of their thing, and I'm okay with it, but it's still bothers. I like both of them so much better in Revenge of the Sith. Like it's like this Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace are probably the two Star Wars movies I've seen the least, and it's there. I don't know. He's awkward.
Yeah.
Cringe.
Yeah, I mean, like
he's too much in love. He's putting her on a pedestal. Mm-hmm. It's a classic mistake a young man makes. It's making it's a fantasy in his head. He's dreaming about her every night. But
in
like
my brain.
I just don't. I feel like it could have been so easy to like just be like have anyone address that slightly and be like, calm down a little bit, like.
Yeah.
There's no one to like just deflate it enough where it's like it's okay if you are like super in love. It's it's Natalie Portman. You've probably loved her since you were a 9-year-old or whatever.
That's the other thing that's weird. It's like he's loving a mother figure.
Yeah,
he's like a kid in the first one, pretty much too, though, right?
Yeah.
They need therapists in Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, if attachment leads to the dark side, why are none of the other Jedi who obviously notice that he is into her not saying anything? It's weird. Like there's like a disconnect in the writing here somewhere.
I mean, attachment is not allowed, but compassion, which true love really is actually encouraged.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, he tries to explain it.
Yeah,
might say that they're encouraged to love.
That's true. They did.
Joe is asking in chat, did anyone see Grogu in the scene with Yoda and the younglings? I looked for that because Joe messaged me and said that he thought he saw Grogu in that scene. I did not see him. I looked, but I did not see him. Yeah. Joe's also mentioning Obi-Wan's fake beard. Did anyone notice that?
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
That was fake? Wow.
I think maybe for some scenes.
It sounds like just in some scene, like maybe he had to do reshoots after he'd already shaved or something. They had to. I didn't notice, but
the real beard looked like shit as well.
Again, it looks better in Revenge of the Sith.
What about the first action sequence of the movie where they're like protecting the Amidala. They end up like Obi-Wan jumps out the window, catches the droid, and they fly through the city, and they have this big chase. Because like for me,
oh my god,
like the intro of this movie, I like this stuff. Like this is kind of the one place where the style of the prequels kind of works for me, where it's like this is this crazy city and these Jedi with these amazing powers. Like that moment where she's being about to be attacked, and both Jedi feel it happen before it happens and run in to stop it. That's what I want from my Jedi. Too. Yeah, totally. I like that. It's like the Jedi are in tune with the world around them and able to do these incredible things. I really enjoy this whole sequence.
Angry worms.
Am I the only one that likes this part?
No, I love it.
I like the whole action sequence. I hate those slugs. They look like little poops coming out of that robot. I do not like that. But they are smart ninjas. They know how to stop for a second.
Yes.
And R2-D2, worthless. Can't even scan through a mattress. Murder slugs or whatever.
Shining his flashlight. Nah, it's all good.
I think that they're just really smart murder bugs.
Yeah. There is
Galaxy. They could be sentient beings. We don't know.
They're assassins. They got paid.
Yeah, they could have been in on the deal. Boba Fett
bounty hunter paying another bounty.
Jango Fett.
Yeah, paying some assassin bugs.
Talkie makes a great point. I feel like Star Wars was outlet for all of George Lucas's weird sexual fetishes. I feel like that is true. That's
him
true.
And Gene Roddenberry have a lot in common in that department.
God, yeah, the brother sister Luke and Leia thing, and then like a 9-year-old and a 7.
Yeah, and like the slave Leia costume, Padme losing half of her outfit,
half her
crop top,
very conveniently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like during the love stuff, I don't know whether they're talking about are we allowed to kiss, or if they've already had sex and they're talking about whether they can have a relationship, or if they're just talking about the idea of loving each other. I do not know because nobody talks like that about their relationship. It's insane. It's written by, I don't know what it's supposed to be like. It's supposed to be like a weird soap opera or something, and I hate it.
Well,
it's so bad.
Let's find out.
I will say though about that one scene of that action scene right before the action scene. I think there is almost no funnier moment. I think maybe only the first time you see it, and you kind of forget in subsequent times. But when they go in the room, and then Obi-Wan just turns and just leaps straight out that window, is one of the funniest things. You're just like, oh, what?
I love it.
I love it.
Literally, that was my other note right below. They don't already have an army. Was Obi-Wan jumping out the window?
I love it.
Like, oh,
it's great.
Also, I've got to say, what terrible glass that is. Like that dude just jumped through it, no problem. It's not like shatterproof. It's not.
Is it
it's not safety glass like we have?
Hey man,
like a force field or something.
No glass is force proof.
Dude,
because the robot does a little, it like opens
like a little knife thing that it like cuts through too little to like let him in. I love this whole scene so much. This was a scene that maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but then so he jumps out the window, which I thought was cool. I like that he doesn't even hesitate. Right. He's just like, bam, like just goes and just jumps out into who God knows what. Like uses the first sense little thing.
It makes it funny.
Yes,
I love it. I think that's like a moment that like says something about his character, and I like it. I like that he just goes. But I love this whole scene. This whole like descent into Coruscant also blew my mind. Like I'm like largely rating this movie on this scene alone. I don't know why I either don't remember or didn't really pay to process how incredible this is. Maybe again more with hindsight, and I don't think I really realized the scope of Coruscant, like how many like thousands of layers it goes down. Like I just was like, oh, it's a cool city. I didn't really fathom just the amount of layers. And I was watching the scene like as if I'd seen it for the first time, and I was enthralled by it, how they just keep going like further and further and further and all these different layers, and running into like the driver's like, hey guys, like I loved every second of it. Like it all the way till they get to the bottom. I really love this scene. This might be one of my favorite scenes in all of Star Wars. Exploring Coruscant like this, it's such a cool way to do it too. It's exciting. It's just like every time you think they're reaching the bottom, they just keep going further. I mean, it's mind-blowing. Like, it's like what I would think, like, now it's like what I like to imagine New York City is going to look like in 500 years. Like, it's so cool. It's so freaking cool. I love this scene.
I agree. Like, I'd always loved Coruscant in the books, and I think that this is the only time really in all three movies where they kind of explore like the potential of what a cool planet that is, because they definitely do in the cartoons, but like in the movies themselves, I feel like we're just in one room on top of everything most of the time, or we're in the Senate chambers or whatever. But just seeing like the city as a whole is so exciting. Like they end up in that bar, like selling death sticks and all that stuff. I love it. I think it's all great. Mandarin, I think you are drunk, sir. I can't tell
much like the Fifth
what you were saying in chat, but let's calm down a little bit. Yeah. Oh my God, Fifth Element's so good. Okay, well, I made polls for us for this entire opening sequence, so I'm dropping that in chat right now. So we get to vote on all these different things that we just talked about: the opening sequence, how you rate the title crawl. How do you rate the opening attack against Amidala and the political fallout? Talking about, Palpatine trying to get her protected by the Jedi. How do you rate the introduction of Obi-Wan and Anakin and the reunion with Padme? And then how do you rate the action sequences as the Jedi protect Padme from space bugs and chase the mysterious bounty hunter through Coruscant? So go ahead and click that link and start voting. And then I want to know what our panelists are voting. So Doug, what are your votes?
Let's see, 8. Oh boy, there's a lot. 8. I guess that's a 7. And I'm giving the action sequence. That's a 9.
Nice.
So I went 8, 8, 7, 9.
How about you, Jenny?
8 for the crawl. I'll do 6 for the opening attack, because again, just some of the dialogue and whatnot. Obi-Wan and Anakin. Yeah, I'll give that a 7. I'm giving a 10 for that Coruscant and bugs.
Nice.
The slugs.
I'm going to wind up with a higher rating at the end of this. I'm going to get tricked into...
That's my goal, is just to make you wrong, Doug. What about you, Ryan?
I rated the crawl 6. It's fine. It does say what is about to happen or what has just happened. It's not bad or good. Attack against Amidala.
For goodness sake.
I say 7. It's fine. I don't know if it's here that she says it. She's not the queen anymore. And the senator. I think it might be later
because her term expired.
Right.
Well, she says that later on. I think maybe that she's not the youngest queen that's ever been elected. And I was like, why do they have to pick a kid? Is it just kids that they're choosing from? I don't understand why.
I think they have
to.
But
she was so good, they were ready to give her extra terms.
I'm sure they explained it in a book somewhere. And the action sequence, the reunion is fine. That's 6. He's got that creepy eyes. And then the action sequence is, I gave it a 9. I do like that part. It's one of the better parts of the movie. I did duck 1 point for the reuse of power couplings as an obstacle or thing.
Oh yeah, the power coupling. Cool. Yeah. What's power up, Dio? Dio mentions in the chat the 2003 animated Clone Wars. That I loved the 2D animated, the hand drawn. God, that show was so great. The guy who made Samurai Jack, I think, made that show. I love it. It's so good. Okay, so opening title crawl. Oh, I'm like hearing myself in someone else's speaker. It's so distracting. I'm going to give the opening title crawl a 7. I really like it. I'm going to give it an 8 because I think it's really strong. Considering how weak it was in episode 1, I feel like this one is really strong. I really don't like the attack against Amidala, but I do like the political fallout that happens. I love like Palpatine hooking her up with, her Jedi protectors. But man, that the opening thing I would give like a really low, like a 2 or 3. So I'm going to give like a 5. This is very middling to me. I love the introduction of Obi-Wan and Anakin. Their reunion with Padme, I think, is really great. It's a great payoff to anyone who, suffered through the Phantom Menace to get to see these characters reunite 10 years later, I think is really exciting. So I'm going to give that a 7.
And she also gives him a little dig. Like, I do like when he's like, you've grown more beautiful or something. And she's like, oh, Annie, you're just like the little kid I knew on Naboo.
Yeah.
Like, what a dig.
Yeah.
She's like, I actually like that part.
Yeah. He's like, oh my
she
God, you're hot.
To send him off.
He's like, I'm so into you. And he's like, yeah, you're a little child.
Annie, Jar Jar little kid that I knew.
Oh yeah, Jar Jar.
To be around and not be like dropping a vase in the background or whatever. So.
Well, he does manage to give Palpatine ultimate control over the galaxy. We'll get there. I love the action sequence. Just thinking about Star Wars as a whole, there are better action sequences, so I'm going to give it a 9, just because I feel like it's not the best, but it's really, really good. So I'm giving that a 9. Okay, our voting is closing. Now let's take a look at the results. Okay, so we're going to average all of this together with all of the panelists and chat and see what people think. Oh, interesting. Does Anakin seduce her, use the Force to influence her, or does she just like him since he was 9? That's a really good question.
I think the joke on kind of like, oh, are you gonna?
He's tall and handsome, sort of. I think before he was, he's a grown up. I think it is weird that she wasn't, because he's a murderer.
I mean, he makes a joke about, or she's like, oh, are you gonna use the Force something like when they're on Naboo rolling, and he's like, no, like it only works on the weak-minded. Like they kind of reference that. I don't see I know we're gonna get more into the romance. I literally don't see any redeeming quality. Like I don't understand what she falls in love with. Ugh. Like I don't see anything. I don't get it. Yeah,
it's really weird. Okay,
I have a theory. It's not healthy.
I mean, he's hot. He is hot. Like Hayden Christensen is he's great. But that's I was gonna say something inappropriate.
I think we understood you. Okay, so we've averaged everything together, and the final score for the opening sequence is, drumroll please, a 6.5. So that's a solid start, starting out with a 6.5. All right, moving on to section 2. Okay, so I broke up this movie in the best way that I could think of to make it as easy as possible to talk about. So there's a bunch of jumping back and forth between different plot points, and I've separated those. So we're going to follow one plot point at a time and break those up into sections. So the first section we're going to talk about is Anakin escorting Padme, because this happens kind of concurrently with Obi-Wan investigating the bounty hunter that attacked them. So we're going to wait on the Obi-Wan stuff and just talk about Anakin and Padme. So here's what we're going to look at. So the Jedi decide to send Anakin to protect Padme as she hides out on Naboo. So we set up the relationship between Palpatine and Anakin. Anakin and Padme prepare to leave. Anakin reveals his anger with Obi-Wan, feeling like he's holding him back. And this is something that's going to go along throughout the whole movie, this idea that Anakin has this like love and this anger towards Obi-Wan, which I actually really like. So then we have Padme and Anakin discussing love undercover on the transport to Naboo. Anakin and Padme arrive on Naboo. They meet with the new queen. And then Anakin talks about how he doesn't like sand, but he loves flirting with Padme and rolling in the grass. So all that stuff about them like going on these fancy dates, they eat fruit that levitates, all that kind of stuff. And then we're going to end this section with that infamous scene where Anakin professes his love to Padme by candlelight, while for some reason she's wearing bondage corset, and they've had their first kiss already, and he's like, I hope that kiss will not turn into a scar or whatever it is. So basically looking at the development of Anakin and Padme's relationship right now. And then I've broken this all up for us to vote on later. But yeah, I mean, this is some like real highs and some real low lows in this section. Like this development of this relationship gets really problematic, really disturbing, kind of gross, kind of creepy and skeezy. But is that on purpose? Because don't forget, he's Darth Vader. What do you guys think? Let's start with Jenny.
I mean, just talking about this section makes me want to lower my overall rating for the whole movie. It's so bad. And no, like I can't, even though he's Darth Vader and he's supposed to be a villain, I think this is almost like irredeemable. Like it's just such bad dialogue, bad romance. It's so awkward. I mean, I guess I could even like, okay, the creepy parts, I can say, okay, well, he's Darth Vader again. He's a kind of toxic, like, whatever. These, I don't know. But there was nothing that I can grab onto to understand, again, outside of maybe that he's literally using the Force to manipulate her to fall in love with him. There's just not a single thing, a moment, or that he says something that, you know, that's kind or awesome, or like, I don't understand it. It's nauseating. The only points that I give this whole section really are her outfits. And I hate saying that because it's such a cliche, like, of course, like a woman character gets cool outfits. That's the thing that we do always get. And I do love her clothes. And I love all the references to Princess Leia buns. She's got like 3 or 4 different hairstyles that reference the buns. And I like that. Props to the costume director. That's where I get my points.
Yeah. What about you, Ryan? What is happening?
That's my frozen in carbonite look.
Ryan, are you muted?
Yes, I was muted.
Ah, there we go. I'm like, Ryan is thinking real hard about his answer.
No, I was not good.
He's muted and doing a ventriloquist.
Yeah, it's funny that she packs like a little space suitcase. And they like go on a trip, and they like take a bus, or they like take the subway, or like,
Yes!
the space train.
Yes!
And they're like, "This is the stop. You guys are getting off here. So I'll say goodbye here."
Naboo, capital city, last stop.
And take a little space train. sit at a little table. I love. Was it? Who's the name? Captain Tycho? Is it something?
Typho, I think.
Yeah, Typho. Him and Obi-Wan have that, like, he's like, well, I hope he doesn't do anything foolish, and then the other guy's like, I'd actually be more worried about her doing something foolish. I'm like, what are you talking about? Are you talking about them smooching or doing something like reckless for their government? Well, I don't know. What are you talking? They're sort of like, they're gonna kiss.
Little by little.
And that is
he
so
knows what
weird.
kind of bad boys she likes.
Yeah, I don't know. She's busy. Maybe she doesn't meet a lot of guys. Maybe I don't know. They're at the Senate. Most of the guys are aliens, and maybe I don't know. Maybe she does date aliens. I don't know.
Well, we get to learn all about her first kiss in like another weird, creepy, like it's like that like high school. Like, tell me how many of you guys have you been with or something. Like, tell me about your first kiss. Like, why are they talking about that?
Pretty
I get it. That's enough.
Like, fine, shut
Yeah.
up. Like, he's hot.
Like,
was he like?
He
me?
asks her and then complains.
That reminds
You're
me.
24, you're not a virgin. Shut up.
That reminds me that there is like some interesting stuff about his worldview about politics. How there should just be like an authoritarian ruler,
There's so many red flags on the way to her saying "I love you" to him that are not just like this kid's kind of a creep. That are like he's like dictators. Some. What you mean? Someone to tell everyone to agree? That sounds good to me. And then like, very well, yeah. Later on, he like straight up is like, "I killed children." And she's like, "I know people get mad sometimes."
Yeah.
You're not reacting correctly. Yeah.
Yeah. Her characterization makes no sense in this movie. Like, she goes from saying, like, "Oh, Annie, you're just that child I knew," to, like, "I truly, deeply love you," in the course of a couple of days. And there's no reason for it. There's no development towards it. It's like, I mean, maybe we've all experienced this thing where, like, someone has a crush on us and we kind of, like, are sort of into it because we want to be liked. Like, that's the only thing that I can think of in this, but it seems like so unhealthy and so one-sided, and there doesn't seem to be any thought put into how Padme as a character would feel about anything that's happening. She just sort of like delivers her lines because they're in the script.
Yes, she does not believe it. I'm sad when she has to kiss him. She does not look like she wants to do it. Yeah.
Like, her whole character, what we are given about her is that she is very passionate about politics. She's passionate about democracy.
Yeah.
She's a good person. She cares about people. She's concerned for other people dying. And then she goes and like, "Hey, I want a dictator and I'm going to murder a bunch of children. Ooh, come here." Like, it makes no sense. And again, unless it's because there's no therapy in Star Wars and she apparently has some issues too. I don't know. We don't know anything about her family life or her father, what went on there, but I don't know. It's just so I don't know. It makes no sense. It's like, again, it feels like something George Lucas just like totally glossed over. Like, yeah, I don't know, they're in love. Just say "I love you" a lot. Just say "deeply love, love, love. I love, love." Just say that word a lot. And here, it's a love story. Look, like, it's
But he made American Graffiti, which is like as I recall, a pretty good movie about teenagers and like what they think and how they feel and stuff. And they like sent these two. They're not teenagers in this movie, I guess. They're like 20. I don't know how old they are. I need to know how old everyone is in all these parts because it gets very confusing for me.
Anakin is 19 and Padme is 24.
Okay, there you go. That's what I need to know. And I
looked it up because I was like, I have to know this.
Like normal fun. The only like fake fun they have is like rolling in a field for a second, and it really does not look fun.
I love that scene. I think that looks fun.
Like falling off the cow.
Yeah, there's some of these scenes that I actually kind of like. Like, there's nothing else like it in Star Wars of them, rolling around in the grass and having a frolicking good time. I think that's kind of cute. And I do think it's a little bit interesting to learn about. Like,
there's a deleted scene from Mandalorian where Mando and Baby Yoda roll around in the grass.
Yeah, but like there's this hard left turn on that scene where Anakin like confesses his love, where it turns into a melodrama, and there's still this question as to like, George Lucas saying that people don't understand his dialogue, like it's supposed to be, campy and it's supposed to be of this certain style. Is there any chance that this is like intentionally melodramatic in a way that is, not like knowingly sort of off-putting, or do we think that it's kind of just bad? What do you guys think?
I think it's intentionally melodramatic, but I also think George Lucas is weird about the way that he portrays the relationship. I think we see a creepy darkness in Anakin that's not fully and properly explored because George Lucas, I just think, isn't capable of that kind of analysis and expression through the story.
Stream's going offline on Joseph. Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening with the stream tonight, guys. Sorry about that.
He's missing.
Sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
People who say they do like this, I mean, yeah, people.
Oh no, go ahead, Jenny.
Yeah.
We got some real bad delay, I think, with the.
I was just gonna say,
chatting.
people, because oh, sorry, I can't tell. I can't tell if I'm interrupting or not. So sorry if I am.
I know.
I can't tell if it's paused. I don't know if I'm talking over someone.
It's like we're trying to have a conversation,
like
but we're each hearing each other like 30 seconds late.
Oh.
This is what communication with the space station is like.
Yeah, Jenny, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I almost like I feel bad bashing it so much because I've now like met people that are super Padme Anakin fans and love this romance and relate to it or find it relatable or whatnot. I mean, a defense that I do hear is, like, it's supposed to be like Shakespearean. The dialogue is supposed to be like that, and it's supposed to have like an old feel or something like that. And it's fine. I'll accept it. Again, like what you like, but I just find it unexcusable. But
well, are we ready to vote on this section?
Yes, and I will vote it down all the way down.
Burn this whole romance down.
Well, I want to give my theory on, I don't know whether you want to call it the Panikin or the anime relationship. But I think that being a elected child queen of Naboo is a very stressful job and borderline cruel that this is what they choose to do. But, that's what they choose to do. It's such a dangerous job that part of the office is having a body double that will probably get assassinated during, I guess, your first or second term. And I think that Padme at 14 being put in this role, it's created this environment where she desperately craves a strong protector who will go to any lengths to keep her alive. And if you see the deleted scenes, her father does not look to be that man. And so I think that's what causes her to her unhealthy attraction to Anakin to grow in the face and explicitly because of the violence that he is more than willing to commit to her cause.
Yeah, that's interesting. I just that makes
sense. None of that is explicit in the text.
That's the thing. It's like it's got to be in the movie.
Very generous reading. Yeah.
That's what's great about Star Wars is like it's so apologist because it continually makes more expanded universe novels that make the movies seem better. And like Dave Filoni has done a great job of making the prequels seem better because he seems to genuinely love them. But we're here to judge the text itself. Like we're here to judge the film itself. And if it's not in the film, it doesn't count. Okay, so let's see what we want to rate these things by. Let's start with Ryan. So we're starting here. How do you rate the scenes between Anakin and Padme? Well, I'll let you go ahead. Doesn't make sense for me to read it.
First section 5, where they're, because it's funny. I think them taking seemingly public transit is a fun. You never see people travel like this. Everyone's just either on the Millennium Falcon or in an X-wing going somewhere in all of Star Wars. And this way, you get to see, I guess, how a lot of people probably travel. So that was 5.
Refugees. He does say that they should travel as refugees, like amongst. So it's like a refugee ship.
I missed that because I was not paying attention. I like it. So that's why it gets. I liked it. 5 stars. And then talking about her politics, I gave that 4. I think it's dumb that they elect child queens and they never explain it. Or maybe that the new queen is not. Is it just queens and not kings? That's interesting, and I kind of like it. The flirtatious.
Maybe they elect a monarch, and it could be a king.
The flirtatious meal and their kiss. I really give this 1 star. I just don't believe that any of the chemistry. They could have made it. I've seen, they could have just given them other stuff to do, and then, you can sense there's an attraction or something. But it is him just going like, "I fucking love you. I've loved you for years. I'm right here. What are we gonna do? What are we doing about this? We have to talk about it. And she's just like, yeah, okay. Shut up. You're ruining it a little bit. I might, none of it gets. There's no funny parts except when he CGI rides that like fat cow thing, the like land manatee or whatever. And they could have. He knows how to do that stuff. He knows how to have people have like normal. Maybe they lose their luggage or something. There was nothing cute that happened. It was all too much. And she looks pretty, and I'm glad that she gets to be pretty in this movie. Like, that's fine. Yeah. I don't like it. What's the next section I also gave a 1 star? A kiss becomes a scar. Shouldn't have wrote that.
How about you, Doug?
We okay?
Yep.
Okay. The rate the scenes between Anakin and Padme, I just gave it a 5. It's fine. It does what it needs to do. Arrival on Naboo, I gave a 6 for reasons Ryan has already mentioned, which is our first glimpse into public transportation in the Star Wars universe. I'm happy with that. How do you rate the Anakin and Padme flirtatious scenes? That's a 2. The floating fruit is cool, and that's what keeps it from being above a 1. Side note, in the most recent discovery, they mentioned that food is made from shit, and that's fun.
Oh my god, we got to talk about that, Doug. Can we take sidebar? Let's talk about Discovery for an hour, can we? Yeah.
It's made of poop.
It's made of poop.
I do like for a second, I do believe that he's just stealing that like pear. And I don't realize it. He's cutting it. And I was like, well, that's kind of a dick move. He's just going to eat her pear. Oh, he's floating it back to her. Okay. All right.
Also, how pretentious to cut your fruit with a fork and a knife.
It's infantilizing. Like, it's just, like, oh, let me get that for you. She's
on a little dish. Just grab it and eat it. Live life.
They could have had a scene where they were like cooking a weird thing, like what's it, Annie Hall, where they're cooking lobsters, but it's some sort of space thing.
Space
oh no, they got out.
It's like on Seinfeld. There's that guy that eats a Snickers bar with a knife and fork. It's classic.
Oh yeah.
How do you rate Anakin's candlelit confession for Padme? I waver between giving this a 2 or a 10 because it is such a strange thing, such a strange line. But ultimately, I went with the 2 because this is just terrible. I'm not going to do ironic ratings in this.
I appreciate that because it would completely destroy the entire endeavor.
Yeah, I don't want to throw off the bell curve here. It's bad. It's just bad.
It's out of character for you, and I appreciate it.
It's so deliciously bad.
Yeah. Well, there's an argument for that. It's so bad that it's iconic. Like, what is that worth? I don't know. What do you think, Jenny? What are your ratings?
The first one, when they're still on Coruscant, I gave a 4 because fine, whatever. The next one, the arrival on Naboo, I gave a 2. And I'm sorry, the flirtatious scenes, I gave a 1, and the candlelit confession, I gave a 1. I hate all of it, and I'm really like, I go into watching these movies trying to find, I'm like hoping to enjoy them more, and there's a lot that I'm liking more. I just don't think I'm ever gonna change my mind about this love story. It makes my skin crawl. Like, I don't like it. And yeah, like the fruit thing, I thought that was so like, she's a senator and a queen. This woman is capable of cutting her own fruit. Like, I just find it patronizing. Like, I don't like it.
For sure.
I know he's Darth Vader. I don't care.
Yeah.
Darth Vader's cutting your fruit.
Darth Vader can't touch my fruit.
Yeah. Okay, so when they're traveling to Naboo, I think that stuff is great. Like, the whole discussion on the transport about whether or not Jedi can love, I think is so cool and like kind of illuminating. It's like Jedi are we can't have attachment, but we have to have empathy. So we are encouraged to love, but not be attached. So I think that's really interesting. And that's the type of thing I'd like to hear more about. And I love the public transportation. I'm with you guys. Something about it is like really satisfying. And also, like, I included in that section discussing Obi-Wan in her quarters. And I love that too. I think like learning what he thinks about Obi-Wan is really cool. I'm going to give this what do I give it? I'm going to give it an 8, a 7. I'm going to give it a 7. 8 felt too high. Arrival on Naboo, discussing Padme's political career, meeting the new queen. I think this stuff is good, like seeing the new queen and then she has the same advisor that Padme had in episode 1. I think that's kind of fun. The dude with the very triangular beard. Yeah, but like learning a little bit about her past, the talk about her first kiss and all that. It's a little dry, but I do like talky stuff. That's why I like Star Trek so much. So I'm gonna give this a 6, 5. I'm gonna give it a 5. The rolling in the grass, flirtation, the romantic meal, their first kiss, like part of me loves it and part of me hates it. It's like what we've been talking about, you know, it's some of it's so bad that it's fun. I kind of like the rolling in the grass stuff. It's kind of cute, but it's also like none of it is based in any sense of real character, and it's kind of disconnecting because of that. So that kind of lands in the middle for me. It's like I remember it very vividly, and it sticks out to me as like a moment in the movie that I feel connected to and I feel emotion during. But it's also like you have to question every moment of it because it's kind of off-putting. So I'm gonna give that a 5. And then Anakin's candlelit confession is like so bad. It's so remarkably bad. And I still don't know, is it like intentionally bad? Probably not. But it's really disturbing. And these like the main characters of your movie. And to have them be all of a sudden like in a bad romance novel out of nowhere is really jarring and so bizarre and upsetting. So, but again, like the costumes, the design is so iconic. Like that scene is so memorable. So I'm gonna give it a 2. It saved itself from a 1. Okay, voting.
The costumes are great.
Yeah, the costumes are pretty amazing. All right, voting is closed.
In one of the deleted scenes that takes place during here, Padme is having dinner with Anakin, her sister, her mother, and her father, and she's wearing like a bare midriff, tie over the top blue dress. So there's still yet another revealing costume that we don't get to see in the.
I'm watching these
final cut.
That is weird.
Watch these special features. Yeah. I've never seen any of these. I did not know they were on Disney Plus.
I didn't know that either. I was like, extras, what's that? Maybe like trailers or art and shit. And I was like, oh, there's a few deleted scenes. Most of them are just like quick and short and they don't add anything, but there's a couple like her having a sister and stuff. It's like, whoa, all right, that's weird.
She has a sister?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sula, something like that.
Wow.
And her sister is like, who's this boy that you're bringing home? He's cute. He's not my boyfriend.
Oh,
what?
That's hilarious.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And well, one other thing I will say is that there's supposed to be a plot to kill her, and they're supposed to be like hiding out, and there's like no stakes. There is no time during this scene where you're like, are they hiding? Like they could have had someone try to kill her while they were in Naboo, like, and maybe she's
with her family.
Something, yeah, like something exciting could have happened. But you forget entirely. Repeatedly? They're like, oh, there's a plot to kill Amidala. You don't remember until someone just says it later.
Well, folks, the numbers are in, and this
everyone who wants to kill her forgot where she lives and where she's from.
Yeah, what's with people
get on public transit? No one would believe they want to get on that space bus.
When people in Star Wars want to hide, they go to their home planet. It makes no sense. The numbers are in, and this section of the movie got a 3.4.
Well, I mean,
very low. And that brought our overall score down from a 6.5 to a 4.95. So that's where we're at moving into section 3.
Feel the burn, George Lucas. Feel more bad about this thing you made. That's actually pretty incredible.
All right, are we ready for section 3? So this is
could have kept the tension alive, no? And there could have been romance in that. Giving them something to do. I like that. I can let me rewrite the script. I'll do it better.
Wow, guys, my computer is really struggling. So I'll bet you anything that Windows just released an update, because even if I pause Windows updates, no matter what I'm doing, when they release an update, my computer slows to a crawl, and it's so infuriating. I'll bet that's what's happening, but we're going to try to power through because there's literally nothing I can do about it. Okay.
It's downloading it for you.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. And even if I pause updates, it still does that, which is infuriating. And if I'm streaming when it's happening, it really slows things down. Okay. So we're going to move on to section 3, which is Obi-Wan's
Just
investigation.
start killing random processes until it all works.
Well, that's a great way to kill the stream. I should try that though. That's a good idea.
Say about this stuff too.
Yeah. Okay. So section 3, we're talking about Obi-Wan's investigation. Obi-Wan tries to track down the bounty hunter who attempted to murder Padme. He expresses to Mason Yoda that he's concerned Anakin is too arrogant. He meets with Dex in the diner, which is a great scene. Then he consults the Jedi archives looking for this missing planet. He talks to Yoda's class of younglings, and then they send him to the spot where this planet Kamino is supposed to be. And when he arrives on Kamino, discovering the planet is there, he discovers the existence of the clone army. He meets Jango and Boba Fett. He reports to Mason Yoda about the clone army, and Mason Yoda discuss how their ability to use the Force has diminished, which is a super important scene as far as the whole trilogy is concerned. And then we'll end this section with the platform battle on the Kamino landing platform between Obi-Wan and Jango Fett. So, Ryan, you're saying you have some thoughts about this? What do you think about this section?
Wait, they go all the way to Kamino?
Yeah. Obi-Wan's investigation leading him to Kamino. Jump in anywhere you feel like.
Well, I do kind of like that they do, because I had that problem. I was griping about Phantom Menace, how they can't see. They're like at Qui-Gon Jinn's funeral, and they can't sense Palpatine, but they go heavy on the Dark Force clouds, what the Jedis can see.
Right.
And also that which I don't think I even really picked up until this viewing, was that they're actually losing their power, kind of losing their. Maybe there's only so much Force, so the stronger the Sith get, the weaker they get. I don't really know.
I imagine that Palpatine is doing some sort of like Force clouding spell that is like filling the universe with dark side Force energy, and that that the light side users are having a harder and harder time connecting to the Force at all, because Palpatine is kind of suppressing all Force around him to hide himself.
Yeah.
I think that it's only affecting their ability to see and sense the future, and like you're saying, to sense the dark forces around them. But their other powers are fine. It's that, and I think that's a huge part, now that I'm thinking about it, of why they can get by without an army, because you have this like group of minority port super soldiers that are ready to like detect the future and go out and mow it down with lightsabers before it's a problem.
Yeah, that's great.
I could have gone for a little, like laying that on like a little bit more, because it would have made more sense.
It's such a cool thing. They could have told a whole trilogy about the Jedi losing their connection to the Force. And yeah, Adam is saying in Legends, Plagueis and Palpatine tipped the balance to the dark. And that's really interesting, like the idea of, what is the balance of the Force that we're trying to return? If Anakin is like destined to bring balance to the Force, what is the balance of the Force? And if the light side users, are losing their connection to the Force, to the dark side, I don't know. There's interesting stuff here that's not really delved into in the movies that I wish they would have gone deeper into.
They're being greedy. They want to see the future and know what's happening, but to be able to do that, they need to let there be a little bit of dark side out there. If they'd be fine not knowing the future, they wouldn't need all this evil in the world.
I agree. I think that it never made sense to me that they did not realize that this prophecy about balance of the Force meant them losing some of their power because they are sort of all powerful. To me, that's always
he balances it out.
Exactly.
There's 2 Sith. There's like 100 Jedi. He mows down all of Jedi, even it out. Leaves it more balanced.
Yeah. How about Obi-Wan's quest to find information about Kamino that takes him through Dex's cantina? That scene is so interesting. It's like a sports bar or something.
Love it. No, it's a diner. It's a 50s diner.
No, it's a diner.
Yeah.
The sports bar was the first bar they were in at the beginning of the
You're
movie.
right.
Oh, love the club.
Yeah, the club.
I forgot
With
to
the
say
death
how
sticks.
much I love the club.
Yeah.
The club's awesome.
The diner itself's actually built out of the hull of an old transport. They just reuse that.
Whoa.
No, I'm
like they do with trains.
I believe that.
But they do that with train cars.
Yeah.
If that's true, then I just I
this
do
movie
like
gets it at 9.
I like that character, the diner character, because you can tell that it's like, oh, this guy probably is like Yoda, where if he was called upon to action, is like a murderous super soldier commando who like hung up his spurs and like runs this diner now. Because that's why he's like, oh, this like dart weapon.
This dart, yeah.
You gotta look at the grooves. Your stupid droids wouldn't know, and they go really hard against droids in this scene, which I think is funny. Is they're like, yeah, droids can't think, and I was like, they can't. You've made us love droids and definitely make them appear to have complete personalities, and then in this scene they're like, yeah, droids can't think. No, they're not real. I'm just like, what?
Someday Star Wars is going to tell a story about droids, like the droid movement for droids to have their own rights, you know? Like
led by L3.
Yeah, they've touched on it in Solo, but like that's gonna maybe the next war after Palpatine is gone for good, the next Star Wars between droids and organics.
Rise of the droids.
Ooh, that's good
Droids
shit.
attack the
But the droids are actually on the correct side where they are fighting for their own rights and and their own sentience. Oh my god, let's do that. That's a great idea.
The Millennium Falcon is like leading the charge because that's technically L3's consciousness, I guess. Yeah. And so the Millennium Falcon.
Yes.
I just want to say, like, I love Dex. He's probably my favorite alien in the whole. He's so believable. Like he's got such a his personality. Like there's just so much. I love that alien. And you were saying you can imagine him as like, I don't know, like an army guy or whatnot. But we see that species again in the Clone Wars. You know that episode of Clone Wars where?
Oh, you're right.
He's the general that mistreats. Oh, this episode made me so mad.
The bad Jedi general. That's right.
He keeps
I never put that together.
To the clones by their clone numbers. He's the one that talks down to, like, Rex has this like existential crisis because he's like wants to obey his superior, but this guy's and he turns out to be why can't I think of words right now?
A Sith?
Turncoat is what I want. Traitor. Thank you.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he's trying to kill the clones.
Yeah, and he was trying to work for Dooku or something.
Yeah, that's the same species. I love Dex, and I love this. This is actually my highest rated section of the whole movie. I love this whole thing from start to finish, where Obi-Wan meeting up with him, his cool little bits of knowledge. Camino, I think, was really cool. This like rainy, it's kind of sci-fi-y, rainy, like the cloning center was really cool. And this time when I was watching it, I was actually like paying more attention to what was going on in the background. This was my highest rated. I found this really entertaining. Everything. I love when he goes to Yoda, getting to see the younglings and finding the planet. It's great. Get to meet Boba Fett, baby Boba Fett.
And
I know I'm writing ahead.
Also, just youngling. Like Ewan McGregor is just great as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah, and he's so good.
He's fantastic.
And like getting to hang out with him for a while is really fun in these scenes. Yeah. I will say that like he has this great rapport with Dex. But then Dex is like saying things about friendship, and Obi-Wan is just saying things about like darts and logistics. Like he never says anything kind to Dex. He kind of does with his eyes and with his demeanor. But I just wish that dialogue. He calls him like old friend or something. But besides that, there's like no warmth from Obi-Wan in what he's saying to Dex. It's really interesting. It almost feels like he's just kind of using him
over the years, and now Obi-Wan only shows up when he needs research about some obscure weapon.
Yeah, exactly.
Your precious fucking robots can't figure out for you. So now you come to Dex.
Yeah, because it turns out Dex is racist against droids.
Oh wow! So. In Legends, Dex was a Padawan with Obi-Wan. That's awesome. I love that.
Oh, see, that's.
Oh my god.
So he's an ex-Jedi.
He left the Jedi Order to run a cafe. That's the best. I love that.
That cafe is great. I like I love the droid, the server droid. You want a cup of Jawa juice? Also, what is Jawa juice? I want to know. Is it like milk? Do we milk Jawas? Is that what Jawa juice is? Like,
you just put a whole Jawa in a juicer, and that's what you get out.
You just blend them up. Like,
Yeah.
I want to know what Jawa juice is.
It's like Irish coffee. It's not made out of Irish people.
Yeah, I feel like
it's a White Russian.
I feel like it is coffee, and that Jawas just love coffee, and they're like Jawa juice.
Rectagino.
It's just like really strong coffee. Yeah, Rectagino with a Jacarine twist.
I think all these answers are correct.
That's how they keep so like why the Jawas always look strung out and
they're
like,
tweaked out on this really strong coffee.
Yeah,
it's got some of that egg in it.
Yeah, the egg. That's right.
That egg.
I also
that must
love
be an expensive cup of Jawa juice.
Oh, for sure. If you got to kill a mudhorn to get the egg.
Yeah.
Or something they use the substitute. It's not as good as the real stuff that you can get on some of these different planets, but
yeah.
Nexus Cafe does it right.
I also really love all the stuff in the Jedi archives, with that woman who's like, if it's not in the archives, it doesn't exist. And then like how that leads him.
The Jedi librarian lady.
Yeah,
is also a Jedi and a librarian.
Yes.
And I like to imagine that the little pin that's holding her bun in, her messy bun can like come out, and that's her little lightsaber.
It's like Needle from Game of Thrones with Arya.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, I mean, I think this whole sequence is great, and that stuff with Yoda, libraries. The stuff with Yoda and the younglings. If you think about that as foreshadowing for Episode 3, when Anakin is going to slaughter the younglings, it's great. Like that is great. You know, I think it's a really really good scene, and like the way that the map is visualized is really cool.
Little tiny lightsabers.
Yeah.
Why are they allowed to have? They seem too small. Why don't they train them with sticks first? They all have full-on lasers.
Well, those kids are what, like 7 or 8 years old? They've been
Jedi.
Yeah, they've been Jedi for like 6 or 7 years because they're taken as little tiny babes.
But they do make
they give the baby sticks.
Well, I guess it's not their lightsaber. Later, they'll build their own lightsaber. These are like training lightsabers. They're probably in a drawer, and you have to check them out.
Yeah, I was gonna try and say, like, do they have like soft edges or something? Like they don't really like kid scissors or something.
They're
like
safety sabers.
Like it's a flashlight. It's just like a flashlight.
It's more like a little like a stunt.
Like it'll set fire to your shirt, but it won't like cut an arm off.
Yeah. So how about the arrival on Kamino? Because I think this stuff is great too. Like I'm not as crazy about the CG aliens. I like the practical stuff more, but I do think that the Kaminoans are really cool. Like the tall, wafy aliens. And then like we finally see some clones. That whole sequence is awesome when you see like all these clones being grown. And you just get thrown into this, like, what the hell? Like, some Jedi ordered these clones years ago. Like, the mystery involved is really cool. And this goes all the way back to 1977 when Obi-Wan first mentioned the Clone Wars. It's like, what does that mean? And we finally get to see it. And it's actually, like, pretty satisfying, in my opinion. I think this stuff is great.
For me,
I love the Caminos.
This is one of my huge problems.
What?
And I'll accept that this Star Wars, the plot is what it is, and the clones are what they are. But if you go back to him saying, I knew your father in the Clone Wars, that makes me think of something so much cooler than just an army that is clones made out of one guy.
Mm-hmm.
What is the advantage of that? That they can grow them sort of like battle droids, but that they're smarter.
Have you ever done screen printing? You have to like pay to get your master screen done, but then once you just through volume use it over and over again, that's where you save your money. If you have to keep paying for like a new template, and you're like, well, these guys are the soldiers, these guys are the scouts, these guys are the commanders. That's just going to raise your credit score, credit costs was skyrocketing. And Sifo Dyas is working on a Black Ops budget off the books already, so he's got to keep his costs down.
I will say this, and I know that it's been done before, but in my mind, the fact that the Clone Wars isn't about people like having to fight clones of like themselves, it's like a scroll, like Secret War.
Yeah,
I think is like a huge short change. And
you wanted a totally different movie.
I wanted a whole different thing. Like, if they can clone people, why not clone the Jedi Council and they all have to fight themselves? Like, why? Like, they just found a random bounty hunter who was like, "You're a good soldier. We make them all you." I don't know. It seems. I know that this is the real movie, and like, I don't judge it harshly. I like the I will give this section points for those chairs that they sit in that come down from the side. And I like Jango Fett, and I like the actor, and I like that he's still Boba Fett. But like, I feel like a cooler story or something more complicated. They had a changeling already. They essentially had a scroll in this movie. The fact that the Clone Wars are named after the fact that one of the army is cloned, it just seems dumb to me, and like not as fun as what could have been done.
Yeah,
it seems like a not as good idea about what the Clone Wars could or should or would have been. And also, he shows up and he's just like, "Well, you're a Jedi. He's like, you don't have a receipt or anything," and they're just like, "Yes, all this like bajillion credits worth of like a whole army you're here to check on just one random guy without a call." It's all so flimsy. On the page,
no ID checks.
Flimsy. When you add all the sets and everything, it's fun. But the ideas themselves are fucking stupid. Kind of.
Hey, you've got a robe and a lightsaber. Do you want to take a tour of this clone facility?
When I first saw this as a kid,
I was the armies owned by the Sith.
They're
all the Sith army.
When I first saw this, I had like similar thoughts, Ryan. I was like disappointed that that's what the Clone Wars meant because it didn't make sense to me. But I have to say that like after watching the Clone Wars cartoons and feeling this like intense sadness in that last episode when all the clones turn, it's really powerful. And the idea that like this army was planted as a means to execute Order 66, I think is really cool and really interesting. So while I felt disappointed in it in this movie as a kid, I love where they go with it. And I think that it really to have an event that can turn the course of the entire galaxy with the Jedi being wiped out by this clone army, I think it's really cool. And whether or not it was executed to the best it could be, obviously not, because it's the prequels and everyone knows that they're full of problems. But I feel like that story and living with that and the ramifications of that in the Star Wars universe, I think is awesome. Like what they're doing with it now, where they're like referencing, where they're now having like Boba Fett in the Mandalorian saying, "Oh, I can't go in there because they'll recognize my face," knowing that he is like the last of these clones. I love it. I just think it's great.
I think they've done good stuff.
Gave us Captain Rex.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
They've Rex and Cody and like the
I haven't watched all
Batch.
the Clone Wars stuff, but I played Bounty Hunter, that game from a while ago. Like, I like Jango Fett, but I'm talking about the same feeling you had, that initial thing where like, oh, that's why it's Clone Wars. And this whole conceit of the movie, like, oh, that's where the Empire comes from. But if he's already secretly in control of this like Trade Federation army and has the Techno Union and the Geonosians, if he doesn't have a clone army, then they still win. They could just kill the Jedis that way, and he's still secretly behind it all. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like the element of surprise where the Jedi's own troops turn and kill them, I think that being the only way to one up the Jedi and get almost all of them in one fell swoop, I think I like that as a story element. I like in the Clone Wars when Order 66 happens and Ahsoka like saves herself because she's just a really good Jedi. It's like, why weren't more Jedi that good? And that's a thing that will haunt me, but it's okay because the story is what it has to be.
There's other Jedi that survive Order 66.
Sure, just a couple, yeah. But I mean, overall, like Order 66 is like such a big moment, and I feel like even the Star Wars fans who didn't like the prequels will still feel the resonance of someone saying, like, talking about Order 66. The moment where all the Jedi were killed. It's a powerful moment, and this sets that up. And this is what I really like about the prequels. I think is this whole story of Palpatine coming to power and using the clone army to do it. And now that the clones themselves are fleshed out through the Clone Wars cartoons, I feel all this like intense nostalgia, and it's just so cool to see them live action in this one movie, because like we see a little bit of them in episode 3 as well, I guess. Not quite a bit in episode 3 with like Commander Cody, but it's just, I don't know, I just feel so different about it now having finished the cartoons, even though I'd say a good 60% of the Clone Wars cartoons is not worth watching. The part that is worth watching is exceptional. It's so powerful, and it makes this movie feel better by association.
Yeah. Playing
that betrayal on such a massive scale is like mind blowing.
Yeah.
Like the Order 66, and with the droids, I mean, the Jedi know the droids are bad. I mean, that's the whole thing, like catching the Jedi off guard, and and they're literally stabbed in the back, shot in the back. I love it. I loved this part.
Yeah.
I disagree with you, Ryan, but
That's
still
fine.
love you.
But
I like this part in a way too, because I like Jango Fett and how they have a good fight and stuff.
Well, let's talk about that fight. That's the last part of this section. That is a good fight.
Agreed.
Pretty sweet.
I agree.
Okay, can I tell you one thing though about this fight that just made me cringe? Jedi have like normal hands, right? Like they don't have like Teflon skin. That scene when like Jango is like flinging him off of the edge, and he grabs this like cord rope, and it like holds, and all I'm thinking is like, is that just like slicing through his hand as he's hanging from it? I don't know why I was so stuck on this part. I just never thought about it, and then I like was looking at it now, and it just was so uncomfortably, excruciatingly painful to watch him hold this like wire rope thing that just had to have sliced right through his hand, and he's like his whole body weight's big, and it bothered me.
That's so funny.
But it's a really cool fight, and I liked all of it. But
implicitly,
I don't know, it's just like that can't be like. There's a lot of stuff I'm just like, it's a Jedi, but no,
it's a Jedi
like
thing,
their skin still cuts.
Well, it's like him jumping through that glass window. It's just like he's a superhero.
Yeah, that's true.
He has a low-key force field around him at all times.
Yeah. A literal force field.
That's fair.
Force field.
That's true.
Yeah,
that seems really. That's a good really scene. Cool though, and
it's a good scene.
You feel
but
like, man, like Boba is just raised to be a little like violent kid, man. He's like shooting at him with his ship too, and so he's like, "Yeah, get him, Dad!" Like,
yeah, it's a good scene, but it has the same problem that almost all action sequences in these movies have, which is that none of it feels real. It feels like a bunch of actors on a stage. It feels like a lot of animated. Stunt doubles, like CGI versions of the characters. It has no grounding in reality. And for me, that feels like a problem. But I love Jango Fett. I love Tamira Morrison. And, when I was a kid, I hated the idea that Boba Fett was his dad was like the clone progenitor. I'm like, that seems dumb. That this random bounty hunter,
I hated it too.
This random bounty hunter that captures Han Solo in like 30 years is also the guy who was like the clone army. That seems dumb. But now I love it. Now I love it so much, and now it even makes sense because like Tamira Morrison as Boba Fett, you see like the savagery of him and like the power of him as like a fighter, and he just has this like huge chip on his shoulder from like everyone knowing his face, and it just kind of makes sense that he would become the best bounty hunter in the galaxy, given how he was raised, his hatred for the Jedi because like one of them killed his father. It just all kind of works in hindsight.
Well, yeah, he kind of, I guess, aligns and kind of works. I assume he just kind of takes whatever jobs he can get, but it would make sense that he takes a lot of jobs from the Empire because that's who his dad was working for, essentially, was the separate, being hired by Darth Vader and to capture Han Solo. Like that, actually, I can headcanon in that. Like, because I
does make sense. Yeah.
Way when I first saw it, I was just like, it's just another like implausible way to tie in another character, like a cool character from the originals that doesn't really make any sense. But yeah, like now I love it. And a lot of it is because I love Tamir Morrison, and I'm so glad he's back.
I know. It's amazing.
So it was cool seeing, because I didn't really pay that much attention to the Jango Fett character when I first saw it the first time. But yeah, it just, now, after The Mandalorian, I love it a lot more.
Was there a de-aged version of him? Like when all the clones are in the cafeteria and they look younger than he does? Like there's like thousands of versions of him that are de-aged at a certain age.
Isn't it whoever the kid who plays Boba Fett? It's basically him and the kid that plays Boba Fett. Those are the two repeated clones that you see.
Right, but the versions of him look a lot younger than he does now.
I think it's an older movie.
No, I mean than he does now in the movie, like as Jango Fett.
I think that might
I feel like
be
they
hair.
look pretty similar.
Just
I
hair.
think it's just they just dyed the hair a little different. He's got a couple more, maybe some like makeup de-age, but I don't even think they had de-aging technology back then, did they?
Yeah, maybe not.
I don't think they would go to that effort. I think it would just be costuming and hair and makeup.
Yeah, it's probably just a wig, and like he doesn't have all the scars on his face and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think we lost Ryan.
I know, he's got the little angry robot.
He was so upset.
It makes me laugh. So this was when Ryan and I were doing Flight Space 7 on stage, not as a podcast, but as like stage production.
Yeah.
And then this was from an episode where we had a robot called Rusty, Rustee, and then that's our friend Dan O'Connell dressed in the Rusty costume, which is just made out of empty Rainier boxes.
Wait, that's a picture? I thought that looks like a drawn cartoon.
No, that's a dude. That's our friend wearing empty Rainier cartons that Albert Kirshner cut up to make a robot costume with a body, a head, and arms.
Well, and a weird coincidence, Daniel O'Connell was in the very first SciFi on trial for the Phantom Menace. So now he's represented by this little picture. Well, let's vote. We've lost Ryan. Hopefully he will return. Might be a computer problem. Okay, so
he's just mad about the discussion. He's dropping out. He's like, I can't handle this shit.
Are we only on section 3? That is ridiculous.
I know.
Yeah, hard to believe. Hard to believe a Jesse Mercury production.
Okay, folks,
it's so hard not to get. We got to keep tighter.
I know. Here's the poll. Jenny, what are your votes?
All right. Obi-Wan's investigation on Coruscant Dex, all that. Yeah, I'll give that a 9. I got no problems with it. How do you rate Obi-Wan's investigation on Kamino? I like all of this. I'm going to give it a 10. How do you rate the landing platform fight? I'll give it an 8. Like, I like it. It's cool. It's not like the greatest in all of Star Wars. But yeah, this was my highest rated section. I really enjoyed this part of the movie.
How about you, Doug?
Yeah, I'm in the similar boat. The investigation on Coruscant, we've already established that we love public transportation. Now we get a library, which is nice. We're getting a lot of sort of like local government spending, and we're getting to see where Coruscant tax credits are being spent, and I really appreciate that. I love Dex. Once this stream is done, I'm going to go Google it to see if anyone's done any like fan art of Dex fighting with like knives and cleavers against General Grievous, because I think that would be fantastic.
Hell yeah.
I do like the youngling thing. I like looking at the younglings and thinking Darth Vader's going to kill all of you.
I know.
So that's a 9. How do I rate Obi-Wan's investigation on Kamino? I do think the whole, like, this planet is missing. Oh, how could it be missing? Someone deleted it from the archives. Well, let's go ask the children what they think. And the children are like, maybe it's just still there. And they're like, oh, there is wisdom in these children.
Really wonderful the mind of a child is.
That was so, that was like, that strained credulity more than anything in Star Wars ever has. Like, oh, the gravity still indicates that this planet is there. What do you think they did? Do you think they teleported the planet away? Do you think the planet got eaten by like space whales? It takes the mind of a child to go, maybe they just deleted it from the file. Oh, yeah. Yet, given that, I still give the whole thing a 9. Because when I watched this in the theater, when they went to Kamino and they had those tall, long-necked aliens, and they were just like, we make clones, hello, and it's all like soft, curvy white stuff. I was just in love, and there was a super rainy planet just added to that for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And then the landing platform fight is just scratching that like pre-Mandalorian series, but the need to see a Mandalorian Boba Fett armor fight in Star Wars again. I loved it then. I love it now. So it's 9s across the board for me in this section. This to me is the movie. There's like all of what I love about this movie is in this entire investigation.
Nice. How about you, Ryan? Ryan, we're glad you're back. We missed you. You're back just in time to vote.
Thank you. I had a spill. Everything's fine. Let's see. Let's do it live. The Dex in his diner. Love seeing those tiny lightsabers. And I think it is stupid that they go and the kid is. I agree with Doug.
Thank you.
Maybe it's still there. Oh fuck, kid! You're graduated. Give him his own, give him his braid now.
This is exactly why I support the Youngling program.
I'm gonna unlock this tiny lightsaber, put it on full power for you. You can handle it. There you go, kid. I do like the library. I like the blue shelves. I've fought in that library. That's on, like, it's on one of the Battlefront maps.
Oh, cool.
I've been a clone trooper. I like the clone troopers. I've been in those boots. Okay. No, I hate the clones. The whole idea of them is dumb. I'll live with the reality, but I judge them. I give them a 3. And then I give I'll give the fight on the, because I had forgot that was that the first time that we've seen a rocket shoot from a Mandalorian's back like that. So I thought there was.
I feel like he does it in Revenge of the Sith. Return of the Jedi.
Well, yeah, in Return of the Jedi, that's how he flies into. He gets his jetpack misfires after Lando or Han hits him accidentally, and he flies into the Sarlacc pit. But he goes, the missile, not the jetpack.
Yeah, I thought he fired the missile during that fight.
We do see the missile. Yes, I think we see it on Tatooine at the Sarlacc pit. Pretty sure. I should know that. That's my favorite scene. I've seen that scene more than any other scene in Star Wars. I can't remember.
There's a deleted scene from Empire Strikes Back where he throws a missile at Han frozen in carbonite. I don't know if that counts.
This is definitely the first time we've seen a Mandalorian in full action, though. Like, Boba Fett, we barely got to see him in action before he fell in the Sarlacc pit. So this is the first time we've seen one, like, using a rocket, using the flames, using like the thing that comes out of his other hand with the rope. You know, it's all there. And
that was designed to murder Jedi, trying to murder a Jedi.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. So
we didn't have to see that the Beskar can take a saber hit.
That's true. He didn't. Yeah. Does he lose his lightsaber in this scene? Does everyone lose their lightsaber in every scene of this entire movie?
Oh, back to the ice cage with you dumbass.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And I will say right here, why not just give it a little lanyard like the Wii controller? Like the Wii controller.
The Wii controller.
If you let go, it turns off,
around your
but
wrist.
it'll still be attached.
Yeah.
Or like those things with your keys where you have a little zip.
You just solved Star Wars. That's it.
You know,
I saved a lot of
it's
limbs.
from our younglings that we get our best advice.
Yeah.
The mind of a child. Truly.
All right, Ryan, did you vote? I
That
want
was
to vote.
8. I think I gave it 8 for that last section.
Okay.
I'll press submit.
Okay, so for me, the Obi-Wan's investigation on Coruscant, the stuff with Dex, the Jedi Archives, the younglings, it's great. I really like it. I have very few complaints about it. I'm going to give it an 8. When Obi-Wan gets to Camino, all the stuff with the clones, I think this is one of the high points of the movie for me, for sure. And then like Mace and Yoda admitting their ability to use the Force is diminished. Like this is where it like feels like it fits with Star Wars to me the most, and I really like it. The fight between Jango and Obi-Wan, I think it's great. The fights in this movie are not my preference, but it's a better version of that, so I'm going to give it a 7. And that's it. All right, voting is closed. Let's see what the results are.
We've already moved beyond me talking about this, but I also wanted to give a shout out to the middle-aged blonde lady with the big boobs and the low-cut cleavage walking around as apparently the only non-CGI character in Dex's Diner. And it's very fun to watch that and notice like, oh, there's one human walking around this set besides Ewan McGregor.
Interesting.
Gotcha.
That reminds me, Jenny, you picked out Anthony Daniels in the scene in this movie.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that was in the bar in the first
The
scene.
Hop and Space Club.
In the Space Club.
With
But
no
yeah,
music
I
playing.
recognized him, but I thought maybe I was wrong because I feel like I tend to see Anthony Daniels everywhere. In Rise of Skywalker, when they had Wedge Antilles in the X-Wing, which makes way more sense, I thought it was Anthony Daniels. So I was like, maybe I just see Anthony Daniels everywhere. But then I Googled it and it actually was. And I caught him. Yeah,
That's cool.
Oh, and when I Googled it, Ahmed Best, who plays Jar Jar, also has a cameo in that
nice.
as well.
Nice.
Wow, guys,
and the guy, yeah.
This got a high score. This got a 7.7, and it's raising up our score from a 4.9 to a 5.8. So that was a very liked section. Good job, movie.
I feel validated.
Yeah.
It's the load-bearing columns of this movie.
Yeah. All right, y'all. How do you feel about taking a little break and before we get into the next section here?
Yeah.
Works for me.
Awesome.
I can go pee.
All right, my friends.
Be
Well,
right
don't go
BRB.
anywhere. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
Wait, Jesse, move your head over to one side. Yeah.
Oh, they can't see me.
The way you went the first way.
Okay.
No, because we're on break. Now tip your head so it's straight.
They can still hear us, though.
There we go. Yeah, that's fine. Now move over a little bit more. Ah, that's beautiful. Go back wait, no, I can do it.
What's even happening?
Oh, I can't do it. I was trying to take a screenshot. My screen, we're splitting a screen. I was trying to do a half me, half you head all lined up.
Oh, nice. I like it. Okay, I'm gonna mute this. I'm gonna mute this. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back, everyone. Don't go anywhere.
No more fun video games. years old.
We're back. Try Jawa juice. Oh my god, I love that, Doug. That's so good. All right, folks, we're back.
Nice cup of Jawa juice? I'm just made a fresh pot. I've just fresh pot of Jawa juice.
Okay, we are moving on to section 4. Anakin and Padme on Tatooine. Anakin has a nightmare about Shmi. Padme agrees to come with him to investigate. So they head to Tatooine. They reunite with Watto. They find C-3PO at the Lars homestead. They learn about what happened to Shmi. Anakin tracks down Shmi and slaughters the Tuskens. He returns Shmi's body to the Lars homestead, admits to Padme he slaughtered the Tuskens, and we see his mother's funeral. So as far as the development of Anakin into Darth Vader, this is a really important section where we see him kind of give into the darkness for the first time, driven by the death of his mother at the hands of the Tusken Raiders. What do you guys think of this section? What do you think, Doug?
I mean, I love hearing the name Shmi said a lot of times, so I enjoy that. I
Shmi?
thoroughly enjoy Watto,
Shmi?
and
What about
Shmi?
What about me?
Now that's a good movie. Hook. I think I've had an apostrophe. I think you mean an epiphany. Lightning just struck my brain. Well, that must have hurt. Sorry, go ahead.
Ryan used to do a bit about Watto talking to Darth Vader. Seeing in the movie Watto talking to the dude who will eventually become Darth Vader about formally owning him, it's fun. It reminds me of that. I'm not a big fan of Anakin slaughtering the Tusken Raiders. From a narrative standpoint, it's weird. We don't get sort of any kind of humanization of the poor Tuskens until Mandalorian.
Yeah.
They kind of try to address it when he cries about it, like, I killed the women and the children. So we as the audience are meant to acknowledge that is bad. It does become weird then that Padme is like, that's fine. You're kind of extra hot now that you've murdered all these aliens.
Yeah, she says nothing bad about it at all. I've got
real mixed feelings about this section.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's some beautiful...
I get it. Like, as a colonial power herself, as an elected queen that is subjugating the native Gungans of her planet Naboo, I can understand her casual disregard for non-human life, but it is pretty dark and does warrant some further exploration.
It's really troubling that she doesn't even comment on the fact that he killed all these people.
Incursions against the Gungans? Like, what military crimes is Padme complicit in? Is what this scene makes me wonder.
What about you, Jenny? How do you feel about this section?
Star Wars spends a lot of time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna admit I was having a little ADD. I was reading chat, so I didn't hear what Doug said. So I apologize if I wasn't meaning to ignore you, but my intention was.
Long story short, Padme may or may not be a war criminal.
Okay, yeah, there were parts of this that I liked. I mean, the scene with him and his mother is sad. It's hard to look at. But yeah, that's not as disturbing as Padme just being like, well, people get mad. People get angry sometimes and murder children and women. Like, again, it's just very... What? Like, this is not even just a red flag. This is like, you should tell someone about this, maybe. And I guess it is probably because they are setting up, they kind of dehumanize the Tusken Raiders, which I think you were saying something about, so that maybe that's why she's like, oh, they're animals, and she doesn't see them as human. So yeah, her reaction is just really bizarre and disturbing. But I liked seeing Watto again. I liked Watto a lot more in this one than I do in The Phantom Menace.
Yeah, he's interesting in this one. Like he obviously like missed Anakin. Like he thinks of him fondly, but he was his property. It's really bizarre.
Yeah, like, and his expressions are very like thoughtful and telling. Like I was actually impressed, like kind of like Dex. Like I feel like you can almost see the improvements they made just between the Phantom Menace and this one in terms of the CGI characters.
Yeah.
So yeah, I liked Watto a lot better. Yeah, and it was cool seeing, it's a little, I don't know, fan servicey, I guess, but going back to, seeing Luke's home.
I love it. I know.
Aunt Beru and Lars, like, I think we all just have, it's something like, it's a fan service moment that I'm okay with, because I think we've talked about this, like, both of us said, like, one of our favorite, most iconic scenes is just Luke on that farm, like, looking at the two sons and stuff. So it's kind of going back there and seeing that place, I really like. Interesting learning about that and seeing Owen and Beru as young lovers. My girlfriend Beru.
Yeah.
My girlfriend Beru.
I just looked this up for the first time. Like, where did they shoot that? The scenes like in the homestead when you're down below the ground, and there's apparently like a subterranean hotel in like Tunisia or something. Yeah, it's like a real place.
My guess would have been Tunisia. I didn't know from this one, but I know from the first Star Wars is that Tunisia.
So they shot it like the same hotel in Tunisia where they shot Star Wars in the 70s. Like, so cool.
If I ever get married, like this is where I want to go on my honeymoon. Yeah. Like we're staying in Tatooine.
Oh, that would be so cool. Oh
like,
my God.
I'm serious. Like this is like where that's awesome that I want to go there. It's like feels like a journey I need to take.
What about you,
It's
Ryan?
fun, but there's so many skeletons. It's very creepy.
What about you, Ryan? Did you like this section?
By the crispy skeletons still laying. They just leave them there.
Yeah, there's too many skeletons because they keep going to this place, and it doesn't make sense to me. How old is? Wait a minute. So Shmi gets sold, and then this guy's like, "I love you. I want to marry you." And then they have a kid, and then that's his stepbrother. How old's that guy supposed to be?
No, he's a kid from a previous marriage. Yeah. So
is that explained?
It has to be because like the timeline doesn't match up otherwise.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
and he calls him his stepbrother, not his half brother.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Stepbrother.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. Yes. So the perfect place to hide one of Anakin's lost children was definitely be with his stepbrother that he knows already.
Exactly. I know. That's a little troubling.
It's almost like Padme hiding out on her home world with her family.
It's one of those things where like it is what it is, and we just kind of have to live with it. It's not the best plan, but it worked, so fuck it.
Here's the thing that we don't talk about is that in the Bounty Hunter Guild, sorry Ryan for stepping on your segment, is that they have a very strict rule about bringing it home. You can't, if someone's hiding out at home, that's like safety. Like they're
hiding
protected.
Out at home,
that's sanctuary.
You must leave them alone. It's like above the guild.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a guild law, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I love seeing the Lars homestead. I feel like it's such a treat. But there's moments in this that really bring it down. Like Shmi's such a great actress, and her death scene is so tragic. But then when she dies, she literally is like dead. Like her head falls back and her eyes pop open and she's dead. You know, it's like
it's a bad death flop.
It's literally a death flop, and it's unfortunate. And then like some of Anakin's acting in this section, like during her funeral, it's a little forced. Like when he's trying to be super angry.
Yes, we must bring her out and burn her in front of everyone before we all can see.
Yeah. And yeah, we already talked about like Padme's reaction is kind of weird. So there's like really important stuff that happens in this section, but it feels a little clunky. It's like this needed another pass at the edit of the script, and it just needed like a female voice behind the scenes in some capacity would have improved it tremendously.
Yeah, they don't let Padme do anything. She can fly a starfighter. She gets to do some stuff at the end. She does get to do stuff at the end. But like, not enough. They could have made her do more stuff.
Well, shall we vote? Are we ready? That was a good, quick segment. We did it, you guys.
Yeah.
We got through that.
It helps with me stepping on other people's chunks. That really cuts it down.
Stepping on someone else's chunks sounds real gross.
Doug,
Okay.
you're stepping on my chunks a little.
There's the link.
You stepping on my chunks, bro. Quit stepping on my chunks, bro.
There's the link, Doug. Let's have you vote first. What do you think?
Oh boy, I'm not used to doing it first. How do you rate Anakin and Padme's journey to Tatooine? Nightmare of See Me, Live and Renew. I'm gonna give it a 6 off the cuff. Well, no, 7 because Watto, Lars Homestead. I did like all that.
Yeah, this is
Anakin's hunt for his mother, finds Shmi before she dies, slaughters the Tuskens. I'm giving this an 8, even though it's gross. But it is the first time where you're watching this movie, and as I have said, the way to watch it is to say to yourself, "That's Darth Vader doing that." When he starts mowing down Tuskens, you're like, "That's Darth Vader doing that." You're like, "Yeah, it really is. It fits." And then how do you rate the fallout from Shmi's death? Anakin admits to Padme killed. That's like a 4. That's so weak. My theory based on their lack of addressing it is again that Padme feels this bizarre attraction to someone that is willing to commit such horrific violence to protect her. But because it's not explicit, I can't give the scene a higher rating because I've fixed it in my own mind. So that's a 4.
Headcanon is your specialty, Doug. You fixed many things for me. What about you, Jenny?
Yeah, I'll give a 7 to the journey to Tatooine because same. I like Watto. I like being back at the Lars home, and I'll give a 7 to Anakin's hunt for his mother. I did like how they do the darker, like kind of Darth Vader music while he's riding the speeder. All the colors around Tatooine are a lot of reds and like kind of Mustafari like. Like just the visuals of it, I know it's just very intense. I don't know. I appreciate that. And yeah, I'm kind of with Doug. I gave a 4 just because it's just so fucking weird, her reaction to all this, and just yeah. That's it. I hate it.
How about you, Ryan?
I'm trashing it. Pretty much. The part where they go back to the homestead, I give it like a 3 because I think this gets to the heart of the problem with a lot of the non-original trilogy Star Wars movies. Their obsession with like over connection.
That's real.
They're hanging out.
Yeah.
Hanging out in the place, and then also they bought C-3PO, and C-3PO's there, and then like Lars is like, I'm gonna buy that droid again later, and not remember that I've been around them, and that Obi-Wan and Luke are hiding in a place that essentially is massively significant to Darth Vader / Anakin Skywalker.
Dude,
it's fun.
I've never thought about that,
but it's annoying.
Lars owns C-3PO and then buys him again 30 years later and doesn't recognize him. I've never thought about that.
This is different.
This is Anakin's problem. You shouldn't build robots from a kit because then there's no uniqueness to it. You're just getting one of a million protocol droids.
But that's all the protocol droids do. Kind of look like that. So it's maybe he just forgot it, but still,
it works. But it's also annoying.
Wiped, but still,
that's true. And Owen. Maybe he's old enough that his memory is wiped as well. Who knows? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. And then so I gave that a 3. I gave the part where he kills Tusken Raiders. I gave it a 5. A little bit higher because it is an adult thing that happens in a movie that often when it doesn't work, the excuse is that it's made for kids. But some very crazy, gross things happen like this. And I get that it's sort of like it's a Western, and they're supposed to be like the Indians, the Native Americans, these Tusken Raiders. But it's like a weird thing where they like it's a sci-fi movie, so there is an endless amount of like faceless enemies. And I get that, but they really spend a lot of time making you not care. Droids don't think. Clones are just clones. They're not real people. Tusken Raiders they're like people, but they're wild and they'll murder you.
Animals.
But in this section he does that. He's like, it's not. He's like, I'm not okay with what I did. He like breaks down and is like, what I did is fucked up. I didn't just kill the men. I killed women and children. And she's just like, hush now. And he's not. And he kind of, I don't know, he doesn't seem to get over it because he's sort of evil in the end. So he's snowballing, but like, I don't know. So that part's, it's at least interesting. And then, yeah, the fallout is like, yeah, it's just 2. I just don't think no one has a realistic reaction to what happened, or at least, I don't think Pad made it.
Yeah.
But maybe he's just sort of like denying it. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So for me, Anakin and Padme's journey to Tatooine. So this includes the nightmare about Shmi reuniting with Watto, visiting the Lars homestead, and finding C-3PO. Yeah. I like this stuff. Like, I like seeing Watto again. I like seeing the Lars homestead. Because, like, when I was a kid, I went to a Comic-Con and I met the actor who played Uncle Owen in the original Star Wars. Like, I have a signature from him. So I feel like I know him personally. So getting to see young him in the movie was very exciting for me. And just seeing something that looked like Star Wars in these movies that don't look like Star Wars for the most part, or at least original Star Wars, that was really exciting for me. C-3PO is horrible in this movie. Like, all of his stuff on Geonosis is ridiculously bad, but I like seeing him at least in this part. So I'm going to give this a 6.
3PO is horrible in all of the movies.
No.
Blasphemy.
Anakin's hunt for his mother, finding
Sorry,
Shmi
I don't know who said that.
as she dies.
Unpopular opinion.
Slaughtering the Tuskens. Like, now that we've humanized the Tuskens a little bit more in The Mandalorian, it makes this like more tragic. And besides Shmi's death flop, I think that this is pretty effective as far as, turning Anakin towards the darkness, which, like, these movies were supposed to be a trilogy about and kind of like failed at. That was a very good death flop, Doug. They should have had you play Shmi. So I'm going to give this a 7.
Thank you.
And then after Shmi's death, the fallout from Shmi's death, Anakin admitting to Padme he killed the Tuskens, Shmi's funeral, some rough acting, some rough dialogue, some stuff that just doesn't connect and is really upsetting because these things need to connect for the story overall. So I'm going to give that a 2. All right, voting is closed. My computer is trying so hard. You can do it, computer. All right, let's average this all up.
I should give one bonus point to Padme's Luke Skywalker-esque outfit that she wears after following.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful outfit. I love that outfit.
She gets while she's hanging out at the farm there.
Yeah,
it looks like a little
They're awesome.
And points to her for fashioning her robe desert style.
Jesse, my headphones, the battery are dying. I have to turn my headphones off, so let me know if you can't hear me.
Okay, will do.
Can you still hear me?
I can. Yep.
I can.
Okay, good.
You will know your ways as if born to them.
All right, folks, here we go. Our score for this section is a 5.9.
Wow, shockingly low.
So we were at a 5.8, and now we are at a 5.9 when we average those together. We're at 5.87, so we're basically at a 5.9. Okay, moving on to...
I'm keeping a track of all of my votes, because I want to see if I come in to my original vote or not. So
yeah, that's a great idea.
Curious.
I can't keep track of everyone's individual votes, but you guys keeping track yourselves is an awesome idea that I support. Okay, moving on to section 5, which is the arrival on Geonosis, is what I've named this section. So this includes the battle in the asteroid field between Jango Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan discovers the droid foundry. He does some spying on Dooku and looks around on Geonosis. He contacts he tries to contact Anakin on Tatooine to warn of the Separatist plot, but he's captured by Dooku and interrogated. Jar Jar proposes emergency powers for the Chancellor, which obviously doesn't happen on Geonosis, but we gotta vote on that because it's really important. Padme and Anakin take 3PO to rescue Obi-Wan. They arrive on Geonosis and they have the battle in the droid foundry. And then I noted here R2 and 3PO do dumb shit because fuck that dumb shit. So
That's a great entry.
Yeah, and then we're going to talk about
when R2-D2 straight up tries to murder C-3PO by pushing him off that thing, and he barely lands on whatever that like platform is.
And like all of a sudden, R2-D2 has rocket jets that we've never seen before. And I know we're used to it now, but like at the moment, it was like, what is happening? And like the dialogue with C-3PO is so bad. This is my low point of the movie. This whole like droid foundry action sequence, I think, is awful. I hate the dialogue.
Oh, you mean the video game setup?
Yeah, exactly. Where all of a sudden, like Anakin and Padme are playing a Mario game where they're like platforming. I really, really don't like this section. And there's like all those fake outs with like the lava that's going to hit Padme and it never comes through.
Into a platformer.
Yeah. It's just, this section drives me crazy. Everything with R2 and 3PO, especially 3PO, it's like, now 3PO is the Jar Jar of this movie where you just need to have stupid jokes in a Star Wars movie. So now they give it to 3PO. And it's such a disservice to his character because I love 3PO, you know? I've always loved him.
Yeah, because I like the first part of this scene. Like, I mean, the battle in the asteroid, we get to see those.
Yeah, it's great.
What do they call the Sonic
charges? Yeah.
Blasters, whatever.
That's cool.
So freaking cool. The asteroid thing. A little throwback also to like Empire Strikes Back. I don't know, asteroids, hiding.
Yeah.
You know.
I love that scene. I love that scene.
Yeah, that's really good. And I thought it was, and again, maybe I was enjoying it more this time because most recently in my mind is, again, all the Clone Wars stuff, all the TV show. So kind of seeing this first, like how the droid, like I'd just forgotten how that happened. So seeing how the droids are first come about and this little factory thing on Geonosis, and also because you hear about Geonosis in the show a lot too. So I like that part, but I agree with you. The 3PO R2 bumbling idiot stuff was hard to watch. And yeah, I remember the R2 all of a sudden being able to fly, and then in Revenge of the Sith, like spitting fire and oil and stuff. I was just like, what the fuck? Like, you don't need him to do that. It's just showing off. Like, it was obnoxious. Like, and the scene where they're on the little machine things, again, just reminds me of George Lucas's priorities for so many things. It's just like, ooh, I want to play around with CGI and do this sequence. So that's all it is. It's just CGI showing off. It's unnecessary and distracting. But I like Geonosis. I like the planet. I like the little buggy creatures that live there. And I think I liked learning where these droids. I just can't believe how little of this movie I remembered. Like, again, it was like watching a movie again for the first time. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, there's a lot. I like the stuff on Geonosis before that droid foundry fight. Because, like, Obi-Wan being captured, well, him spying is great. And, like, like the Techno Union and all that stuff is kind of fun. And seeing Count Dooku from the rafters, all that stuff is fun. And then I love the interrogation sequence when Obi-Wan is interrogated by Dooku. Yeah, where he's like, what if I told you that, like, the Senate was currently under the control of a Dark Lord of the Sith? Like, just straight up tells him what's happening.
Yeah.
And in, like, classic Sith fashion, is, like, trying to get Anakin... trying to get Obi-Wan to join him and kill Palpatine so that he can then become top dog. And I think that he's legit in that. I think he would actually do that. But of course, like, I don't know. I really like that. And Christopher Lee is an amazing actor, and having him in this movie is pretty cool as Dooku. So all that stuff is great. Yeah, and then Jar Jar.
Yeah, this was a mixed bag for me. I don't know. There's
very much a mixed bag.
I really liked about this, and there's things that I hated.
Yeah, Jar Jar giving emergency powers to Palpatine is like such a crucial moment. And it's so interesting that Jar Jar is the one who like puts that motion on the floor to give Palpatine the emergency powers. But then they don't even vote on it. He just like says, I think we should do this. And then he's like, great, I promise not to abuse this power. Yeah.
No, I think they do vote on it because don't they just like they push a little button on their thing?
I guess
and
maybe,
then it just,
yeah.
tabulated electronically. Like maybe they don't show like an announcement, but I think they did vote on it.
Yeah.
Because I think they announced like, okay, this is passed. Like someone must have looked at something. But still,
they hear all the cheering and they're like, "That passes. That's a lot of cheering."
I mean, and isn't this also like a tie into that conspiracy theory that Jar Jar was secretly working for the dark side all along, and he was the secret Jedi or Sith Lord, whatnot?
He just gets tricked. They're those Palpatine and that other politician they're both like so wish Amidala was here to do the vote, like in front of Jar Jar. They're like nudging each other practically. They know he's gonna do it.
Yeah, the big blue guy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the bureaucrat.
The horns. Yeah, what's that guy's name?
I looked into it
know.
before. There are some like secondary stuff about him in books and comic books of being.
He was in the book I just read.
He's basically, at least what I had read before, is that he's basically in with Palpatine, and then he serves, I think, as an interim administrative ruler after the fall of the Empire when Palpatine is dethroned.
Maz Amedda, says Adam.
He's a corrupt politician, I think, basically.
He clearly is like goes along with what's Palpatine the whole time. He seems like kind of his right-hand man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know that guy who Obi-Wan cuts his arm off in A New Hope?
Yeah.
Ponda Baba?
Oh,
he doesn't like you.
Yeah.
There's a delegation of them, and they go like, ah! They like yell, like
yes,
do some kind of like fist smash move. Yeah, they vote for.
Interesting.
They do like the sideways, like
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting.
Adam says that Maz Amedda, the big blue guy, he knows that Palpatine is a Sith. So he's just like power hungry, and he's just like hitching his wagon to this guy who's rising to the top.
Because in Revenge of the
he's
Sith,
the
he's
Leslie
always
Graham
kind
of
there.
this
Like,
story.
There's no, yeah.
He's Lindsey Graham.
What'd you say?
He said he's the Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham.
Oh.
That's funny. Okay, are we ready to vote on this section?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to start us off so I can read what these sections are. There's the link in the chat. Okay, so how do you rate the battle in the asteroid field between Obi-Wan and the Fets? I mean, this is a pretty classic, awesome battle. Like, this is definitely the best space battle in this movie for sure. Possibly in the whole trilogy of prequels. Yeah, I really like it a lot. I think I'm going to give it an 8. I'm going to give it a 7. I keep trying on the higher number and feeling bad and going down.
It just doesn't feel right.
Yeah. How do you rate Obi-Wan's investigation and capture on Geonosis, which includes the discovery of the droid foundry, spying on Dooku, sending his message to Anakin, getting captured and interrogated by Dooku? I think all this stuff is great. I think Christopher Lee kills it in the scene as Dooku. This is by far the best Dooku scene in the trilogy. Made me wish we got a little bit more of Dooku, actually. And I love Anakin spying. I think it's all really effective. I'm giving it an 8. How do you rate the resulting actions, including Jar Jar's motions for emergency powers to Palpatine, Anakin and Padme rush to rescue Obi-Wan? So I love that Palpatine gets emergency powers. I feel like that whole scene could have been fleshed out better. And then I feel like Anakin and Padme rushing off, where like Padme has to convince Anakin to go, is a little annoying. And then the fact that C-3PO comes with them for no reason. Like, why did C-3PO go with them? It's not even addressed in the movie. It's like C-3PO just like leaves the homestead. So I'm going to give this a 5.
You might need to translate something.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to give that a 6, actually. Because I like Palpatine getting his emergency powers. Like, this is crucial. And his line about, like, this power you give me, I will lay down when the crisis is averted. Classic politician. And then the battle in the droid foundry, hate it. Would give it a 0, giving it a 1. Because that's the lowest that we go. So, what about you guys? Let's go to Ryan.
I accidentally submitted mine, so now I can't see what I...
Try and hit back. See if it'll show you your votes.
Yeah, you can
open
it again
because that's voter.
Yeah, don't vote again, but you can open it again.
You can open it again.
Yeah.
I see. That at least I can deal with it. Should I go?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, okay. Battle with the Fets. I like this. This is some good solid Star Wars. I'd give that an 8. I like the seismic charges sound cool.
Mm.
There's a pause, and then you can still hear them even though it's space. I love it.
Mm.
Obi-Wan's capture is very fun. I like that council of people. I like the techno droid guy. So I would like to see more of them. I guess he's like Grievous.
Watch the CGI Clone Wars.
I'll watch CGI Clone Wars. I think that Newt Gunray?
Mm-hmm.
Is a cool name wasted on that guy.
I like the name.
He was cooler than that guy.
Gunray.
And they did make the other Trade Federation guy not have that accent. He's like, huh? It's just he had like a different well, let's not do that then. Like, okay. And I give an extra point for yes, how Obi-Wan slowly spins around while he tries to have a scene with Count Dooku and kind of has to go, huh? Keep turning his head.
Like that scene in Thor Ragnarok where he's like, just a minute, I'll be back around in a second.
Oh, yeah. I
will file this petition to have you released. Thank you so much. I'll be back in a second.
So,
Dooku!
So I think I gave that a 7. The emergency powers part, fine. I'll give it a whatever. I'll give it a 6. And then the droid foundry part used to drive me crazy, and I used to hate it. I think with the fury that kind of Jesse has, but I feel like I've just because it was oh, this just looks like a video game. But now that's essentially what every single movie does for action sequences ever since. So I'm I'm used to it now. So it was I was oh, I kind of like the part where she's in that tub and she might get hot metal poured on her, and she kind of just goes
ugh.
for and they keep cutting back, and she's still just doing.
Maybe if I tried this.
It's so bad.
On the other side, no, it's still high. But yeah, that shit is annoying. So I give it a 5. I should probably give it a less.
Let's go to Jenny.
Done.
I gave the asteroid battle a 9. It was cool. I think I heard somewhere I think they won an Oscar for sound because of that seismic charge thing.
That's cool.
So yeah, 9. And then Obi-Wan's investigation, I gave an 8 because I liked it. And yeah, the Jar Jar emergency powers, I gave a 6. Whatever. And the battle droid, I gave a 4. I don't hate it as much as Jesse. I don't love it either, but I'm kind of meh. 4.
How about Doug?
All right.
Ooh, this is embarrassing. Asteroid battle, 10 for all of the reasons previously mentioned. I can't want more than what had happened here with a sort of a chase through an asteroid field with what I must be the Slave One chasing down Obi-Wan, and as we've mentioned, apparently the award-winning dead silence, and then that whatever sonic bomb is amazing. I love that. I've tried to replicate that big silence before an explosion in my own productions of things. So hats off. And the fucking repeated fire. If this was a boss fight, I would be so pissed off trying to get away from Jango Fett, because my own ship would have a cooldown period when I was going at it with the guns, but his ship apparently can cheat and just repeatedly. So still a 10. Still a 10. The Obi-Wan investigation, capture on Geonosis. I gave that an 8. I liked all that. I liked the spying stuff. I liked more of the backstory. I'm being heavily influenced, I think, by Clone Wars CGI stuff. I gave an 8 to the resulting actions. I like the political maneuverings. I like the poor dupe Jar Jar being maneuvered into handing over all of these powers. I like I promise I'll set these powers aside. I like that. I like Star Wars being explicitly sort of critical of government actions. And the droid foundry video game battle, I'm giving it a 9 because it was a fantastic tension-filled, action-oriented set piece segment. It's the stuff I didn't like about Phantom Menace, where Phantom Menace just dragged ass because there wasn't anything exciting at best beyond the long extended pod racing until you get to the Darth Maul fight, you know? So I like the video game fight here. And I gave it a 9.
Disgusting. All right. Has everyone clicked submit?
Submit. I gotta get these high scores in. Okay.
I should have closed the voting before Doug voted.
Sorry. 8s and 9s, baby.
All right. Well, let's check. There it is. 11 responses. Let's check our results.
I do like on the Harley Quinn cartoon on HBO Max, they do an extended sequence where it's explicitly referencing this kind of thing, where it's like, this is obviously a video game setup with a racing car track through Gotham City, to the point where one character says, "Drive over that power up," and I love it.
All right, so
I love obvious pilot setups and video game setup.
We have our results. Everyone loved the Django battle. A lot of people did not like the final battle. Doug's 9 was by far the highest that got. But our overall rating for this whole section is 6.5. So let's plug that in. We're at a 5.9. Plug in a 6.5 and we go up to a 6. We're hovering at a 6 right now. So if we stay right here, then I'm going to win because my guess at the beginning was a 6. Okay. Moving on to our second to last section.
Amanda loves me, and that's all that matters.
That is true.
She may not agree with me, but she appreciates my presence.
We all do, Doug. We're so glad you're back.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're moving on to the climax on Geonosis. So we start with Padme dying a little each day from truly deeply loving Anakin. Which we're going to vote on that separately because that's a very important moment when Padme admits her love to Anakin. So then they battle the beasts in the arena. The Jedi arrive and the droids arrive. And then there's a big battle between Jedi and droids in the arena, during which 3PO does dumb shit. But the Jedi are surrounded, and luckily the clones show up at that very moment. A larger battle breaks out on the ground on Geonosis. Obi-Wan and Anakin try and fail to capture Dooku. And in the fight that ensues, Anakin loses his arm. Yoda and Dooku fight, and Dooku escapes. So this is the whole climax of the movie, all the big action sequences on Geonosis at the end of the film. What do we think of it?
I did, except for that first part with the stupid I am truly, deeply in love with you. And it's like, the last interaction you just had, I mean, besides the video game, was him again, like, murdering a bunch of creatures, and that's what does it for you. And now you're like, no, like, I know it's like because they think they're going to their death, and like that triggers strong feeling, whatever. But it's just it's so bad. It's just so bad. But I thought this scene was fun. I mean, it's kind of one of those like a little ridiculous. Like the elaborate that they're gonna like fill this entire arena and put them in here instead of just like shooting them and being done. Like, just kill him. It's just so, but it's a movie, and
let the elaborate executions begin.
Yeah, like it's just funny, all the elaborate setup. But I like it, and actually, other than the stupid, truly, madly, deeply line, there are 1 or 2 points where I actually like I get like a pinch of chemistry between Anakin and Padme, and there's just like a couple where he says like something like, I've given up on telling her what to do, or something. I'm like, hey, it's kind of cute. Like, you get little hints of what like this could be. And I feel like there's one other line that I'm blanking on, but there was one little like cute chemistry between them line. I think it was in this, and now I'm blanking on it. But
I have to mark them down for ripping apart Padme's outfit in a way that, you know, is sort of gratuitous.
Yeah, that was so unnecessary. That did feel kind of like a weird like Princess Leia in the gold bikini type of moment. Like, let's just find a way to get some of her clothes off. Like,
yeah, and her confession of love is awful. It's like the dialogue is atrocious, and Natalie Portman is doing her best. She's earning her paycheck, but like, how do you deliver those lines? They're so bad.
Seriously, how do they say, like, she's like I think she's an Oscar-winning actress. Like, how do you sit there and deliver that line? Like, the amount, this might get too many, I don't know if I'm gonna get into tangent, but again, like, there's just that George Lucas was just so in his own world, and like not taking advice from anyone is just so apparent in lines. Like, it's so unbearable. Nobody talks like this.
I don't really like the whole execution scene where they fight those giant animals. It's like there's moments of it that are kind of fun, but on the whole, it feels like they were trying to make something look real that they just didn't quite have the technology for, and none of it feels at all real to me. Like, none of it's grounded in reality. It's the problem I have with the prequels as a whole. But a lot of the action sequences just really feel like people swinging around in front of a green screen and then animating shit after the fact, because that's what it is. But it really feels like that. Like, it doesn't integrate the actors into the scenes at all. I love when the Jedi show up. That's an exciting moment, and like getting to see that many Jedi fight at once is really cool. As far as like the arena is concerned, like I feel like that side of it is a lot better, the Jedi side, than the giant monsters side.
Well, and even though the CGI, I mean, the CGI does bother me too. And it is, again, yet another scene where I feel like George Lucas was like, no, we're just going to do this whole thing because he just wanted to play around with CGI and he wanted to animate it. But it's one of those scenes that, you know, I feel like an artist you don't just immediately put out something that's fantastic. Like, this movie is another stepping stone, and the techniques and the technology that they learned in this movie, you know, made it so that we have so many other movies and so many other scenes that are way better and way more realistic. So I give it a little grace from that. Maybe it was a little premature, like he could have worked on it a little more, but, you know, he learned from it.
Yeah.
I think that he made, like, the whole look of these movies at being the throwback that they are to, like, cars in the 20s and 30s and stuff. Like, he also made it like, I'm gonna put set pieces that would be in Ben-Hur, like the pod race is like the chariot race in Ben-Hur, and this is like a gladiator fight that would be in a gladiator movie, or like Jason and the Argonauts. This would be like a stop motion, like Ray Harryhausen scene. That's what those creatures look like. But he's like, but I ought to do it in CG. Yeah, it looks okay, but it is like just as much contrived, you know, as the factory thing, the factory sequence, or this. It's just like,
and C-3PO's presence on the battlefield is like, rough.
Oh my god, that was so dumb. That was probably one of my lowest points. C-3PO's head on a battle droid's body, and then R2 just like boop, 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 out in the middle of this like massive battle and laser fire, just coming and like grabbing his head. Oh, and then, oh my god, 2 of the stupidest lines from 3PO.
Ugh.
Oh my god, one of them where he's like, oh, this is a drag.
Yeah.
When he's dragging his head. a long thing. And then when he gets to his body, he says, "Oh, I'm besides myself." I was like, wah, wah, wah.
Yeah. It's like so bad, I feel it in my butthole. I hate it so much.
I'm losing my head over how difficult this is.
Yeah, it's really rough.
And
it really brings down the whole thing.
They do it in the first movie and this movie, but I don't feel like they do it in the original Star Wars, where it's like, it seems like a giant room full of people with laser blasters, just like going, shoot this guy, shoot that guy. They're like all surrounding it. There's no like tactics or anything. Like no one can like get behind a chair or something. Like it doesn't. It's
No cover.
It seems like it's made just to be like, look, I can make 1,000 people on the screen.
Yeah,
all doing something. Like I can't tell what's going on.
Yeah, as Ian Malcolm would say, just because you could doesn't mean you should.
Doesn't mean you should.
What about the larger battle on Geonosis when that breaks out? Like we get a large scale battle, kind of like what we saw in Episode 1 on the grass field. Like this is like the real start of the Clone Wars. Around the survivors, a perimeter create. You know?
Yeah.
I think I originally thought like it was too much. But like, you know, I like seeing all those stupid tanks and stuff now. It's just kind of fun to see all the toys. And that's what it kind of is. It's like, look at all the toys you're gonna buy. Look at all the different ships.
Yeah, when it's all CGI like this, I lose interest. Which is weird because I love the Clone Wars all CGI cartoons, but like if you're pretending it's a live action movie, like put in some live action, you know?
There's a couple cool parts. They shoot down that one.
Thank you.
That one like spherical ship.
Yeah.
The one little starship. They kind of shoot that one down.
Yeah, that part's kind of cool. It's so disappointing that all the clones
Concentrate all
are
your
CGI.
fire on the giant ball.
Like why? They didn't build any stormtrooper armor at all for this movie. It's all CGI stormtroopers.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's necessary.
Yeah, it really takes away from the feeling that this actually happened in the Star Wars universe. Like that's why I struggled with these movies for years, is because they don't feel like they actually happened. And now I've like finally learned to integrate the information into my brain, you know. But it took me like 20 years. Like this movie came out like almost 20 years ago.
It's what's great about the return to Tatooine scenes, where you get to go to Owen and Beru's little hut, where you're like, the physicality of this scene is so visceral and real, because you're like, look at the little drawers, and they got the little juice containers. Like they didn't fake any of that up, which you could have. You could have done that on a soundstage. And it's what I also love about Mandalorian is they really know how to find that balance between the real world physicality of having these objects and CGIing other ones to fully capture kind of the aesthetic and visual language of Star Wars.
Yeah, and
even Force Awakens, I thought, you know, no matter what your thoughts on the sequels are, like just visually, I remember feeling like, oh man, like they pulled it back, they pulled the digital back a bit and pushed the practical effects. I think Force Awakens had more of a mix than Mandalorian. I feel like aims a little heavier practical, but yeah, and that's so interesting. I think that's right. I think that's why that scene on Tatooine at Luke's homestead felt so like comforting or something, because it's like the one thing that we can kind of connect with and that feels real and visceral. And yeah, that was overall probably my biggest problem with these movies in general in the theaters, is I just felt so disconnected from them. Like you got to keep one foot kind of in reality. They were they were practically animated. Like you might have as well just made cartoon version.
Yeah,
they did to better success and better.
Exactly. Exactly. What about the lightsaber fights? So we have Dooku versus Obi-Wan and Anakin, and then we have Dooku versus Yoda. And I feel like there's some stuff in this that's pretty badass. I mean, I really like seeing Yoda fight. I really liked that.
Yeah. say
they keep talking about him being one of the best swordsmen.
Yeah,
so it's nice to see him be.
This is actually
you have to bend down to get it.
Bend down.
It's like fighting rats, but the rats have lightsabers.
This is actually a moment, like, probably, I think this is the one moment that I actually remember in the theater. I don't care. This was a fan service moment that worked, I felt like, so well. I remember just being overjoyed, like joyful, seeing Yoda and picking up a lightsaber. Like, that was, I think I remember like walking out of the theater and being like, no, like that out of everything. I was so, like, everyone wanted to see that. I mean, come on, like seeing Yoda about, and the way they set it up where he kind of like walks in all like slowly, you know, like a Willy Wonka kind of fake out or something, and then like I thought that was great. I was like yes, like I was like whooping in the theater, like with everyone was yelling. Like that was a great moment. That's probably my favorite moment. I don't care if it's fan servicey. I loved it.
Yeah, I think that fight is significantly better than the one between Dooku and Anakin and Obi-Wan, which is a pretty good fight, but like there's a couple moments where they try to be like artistic with, you know, showing the close-ups of their faces and like the blades whipping past, and it doesn't, for me, it doesn't quite land. And then once Obi-Wan is taken out early because he has like a little cut on his leg and like a little cut on his arm, and he just lies on the ground. It's like owie, owie for the entire rest of the fight while his Padawan is getting his whole arm chopped off. It's a little weird. Like there's something about the like the logistics of the fight that don't quite make sense.
Yeah, there was just nothing really epic about, I feel like so many lightsaber battles, again, like the one on, I mean, this doesn't even compare to the Duel of the Fates and Phantom Menace. Like that one, there's just something so beautiful, visually iconic. This one's just kind of, a lot of it's kind of in the dark. I don't know, it just wasn't that memorable until Yoda comes along. And yeah, I thought it was weird too. I feel like I've seen Obi-Wan get way more beat up than that, and he gets like a cut on his leg, and he's just like, sorry, I'm out. Yeah. And then also, Anakin, when he gets his arm cut off, doesn't really react very much. He gets thrown, and he doesn't even like scream or anything. It's just like, meh, and he just kind of falls in a pile on top of Obi-Wan and like doesn't make a sound, which I just thought was a little odd.
It makes me wonder, like on set, did the actor know that his arm was getting cut off?
Yeah, like, I mean, he must have been wearing like a blue band over it or something, or green band or something, so that they could take it out. But it's just kind of weird. I'm like, you just lost an arm, right? Like, and he also like. Usually they get cut off at the wrist. I feel like he got it cut off like here. Right?
Forearm.
He got like the whole forearm cut off.
He saved that arm, so it's no big loss.
I did like the fact that Vader's transition to being more machine than man started earlier than we would have expected. I think that's a cool.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. Well, shall we rate the climax of the film? Who's ready to vote? Let's do it. Where did I put it? There it is. Okay. Sharing it in the chat. And here you go. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to kick us off. So I don't want to make you guys have to read all the descriptions. So
I'm gonna read all the descriptions though. So just fair warning.
Well, in that case, you can kick it off. Go for it, Doug.
No! How do you rate Padme's admission that she is dying? Oh my god, 2. That's awful. How do you rate the battle of Geonosis fighting the giant beast Jedi? What I love about this fight is that everyone gets a suitably difficulty level scaled monster to fight. You know, Anakin gets a giant like Stegosaurus rhinoceros monster. Obi-Wan gets a praying mantis the size of a house, and Padme gets like an angry
like
bobcat.
Yeah,
she's just like a dog that's like nipping at you. So let's give that an 8. That was pretty good. Battle of Geonosis after the arena, arrival of the clone army, 9. When Yoda brings in the clones, oh my god, yeah. Lightsaber battle between. Yeah, and then the lightsaber battles, I'm giving it a 10, but it's Yoda and the Dooku fight that is carrying that score primarily.
Yeah.
The Dooku Anakin Obi-Wan fight is weird because Obi-Wan is like no, don't save your girlfriend, Queen Senator. You gotta come help me fight Dooku. And he's like, fine, I'll help you fight Dooku. Leroy Jenkins. And then he just gets lasered off to the side. And then Obi-Wan is like, I guess you could have just gone and saved your girlfriend. This is a waste of time. I would also like to imagine
He's a hothead. He's a hothead.
He's a hothead. Obi-Wan had a premonition that like someone was going to lose an arm during this fight. He didn't know who. And then when he gets like hit on the arm and the leg, he's like, I'm just going to lay down for a little bit in case it's me that loses this arm. Yet I still give that fight a 10 because the Yoda fight with Dooku is. I also, like Jenny, remember being in the theater and watching this, and the collective glee and joy and excitement of that group. Because I watched all of the prequel movies on day of release, waiting in line, first day. Like I saw Phantom Menace at like a midnight screening. With a group of people that literally laughed out loud at the Darth Vader, Jesus Christ, he was formed by midichlorians line. So this was like the mirror of that, where people were like, okay, thank you. This is fan service, but I love you for it.
Yeah.
So still giving it a 10. 100% 10 for that fight.
How about you, Jenny?
I gave first one Padme thing a 1. Hate it. The Geonosis battle, I gave a 6. I liked it. Not my favorite. And yeah, I gave a 7 to the Arrival of the Clone Army. But again, if I haven't come to like love the Clone Wars so much, and like imagining that that's Captain Rex and Cody and all of them, I might have rated it a little lower. But and I'm giving a 9 to the lightsaber battle because Yoda and Dooku are carrying that, but I'm knocking a point because I just didn't really care for the Anakin Obi-Wan part. But love that moment in the theater.
Yeah. How about you, Ryan?
Bam.
Damn.
Who's next? It's really quiet. Who's gonna talk? You talk? I talk.
I don't know. I was expecting Jesse to say something. And
Ryan?
then he
didn't. You're up, Ryan. You're up.
I'll go then. All right. So, Padme's admission, I gave it 2. I gave it a little bit of a point because it is probably the worst part of any of the Star Wars movies. So that kind of makes it pretty hilarious. And Natalie Portman's a very smart, good actor, and I think she's pretty. And if she were to tell me that she were in love with me, I should be excited. But if she did it like this, I would not believe her. And I don't think the battle. I like I kind of like the whole gladiator monster battle. I like when Obi-Wan has to fight it with a spear, and it chews the spear up, and he goes, and then like later on, it like shows up again, and he's like, I have a light at my lightsaber now, and he just like cuts all its legs off. And he's like really excited about killing it. Yeah, the rat cat was okay. I hate how many people are in this battle, but it is cool to see, different Jedis fighting, and a lot of them have heads that are too big for them to be sword fighting. Really, it looks awkward. But Mace Windu is so cool. He has a purple lightsaber because he wanted to be able to spot himself more easily in the fight. That's the story. And I like his fight with like Jango, like gets flamed and slowly floats down while deflecting like from like a great distance, and then Jango kills that like rhinoceros monster, and then immediately gets his whole head and legs chopped off, which is like, it's for kids, everyone. And then little Boba, he's like holding the helmet later. But I was like, is the head
With the
still
head in
in
it.
there? Is the head strapped in
Yeah,
there?
the head should just like fall out.
Yeah,
Oh.
just dripping
Jeez.
blood
Those
on
helmets
his
fit pretty
shoes, like-
tight.
Yeah, I feel like the head is still in there. He's like, holy, it's crazy. Damn it. So that part I gave 7. It lost some points because of all the C-3PO stuff is dumb. The General Geonosis battle I also gave 7. It's kind of stupid because it does feel like it's there to sell like Lego sets, but I would take any of those Lego sets if someone bought them for me. And the lightsaber battle is
You trying to tell us something, Ryan?
it
Trying to hint.
is a hint. I don't have any Star Wars Legos I used to have. So they're too expensive. And I gave the lightsaber battles. It's like pretty good. It's fine. The Yoda thing's the coolest. It gets all the points. It's like an 8. The other parts, I think kind of weak. I don't know if the Dooku fight in the next movie is maybe better. I can't remember. I'll have to watch it.
It is better.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Come back next week to find out.
All right, I'm going to give
Spoiler alert, it's better.
Padme's admission that she is dying each day from truly, deeply loving Anakin is so bad. I got to give it a 1. The battle in the Geonosis arena, which includes the giant beasts, the Jedi arriving to battle the droids, Jango's death, 3PO's head and body being separated. I really like when the Jedi show up a lot. Like seeing a giant arena full of Jedi all up in the stands, like with their lightsabers flicking around. That stuff's great. But C-3PO's contribution is so awful. Like that's like a 0. I'm not crazy about fighting the giant beast. It's fine. Jango's death is really interesting just because it's Mace Windu who kills him. But overall, I feel like I'm going to give this whole section like a 3. The things I like, I don't like enough. And the things I dislike, I really dislike. The general battle on Geonosis, I completely glaze over in this part because it's just like 100% CG armies fighting CG armies. And that's just not what I'm into. Yoda's line around the survivors, a perimeter create, is my favorite line in this whole movie because it's so silly. It's like, yeah, we know Yoda talks backwards, but that's just ridiculous. But every time that happens, I'm literally like this one. It's like, all right, here, it's coming. Here we go. This is it. And then he says it. I'm like, yeah, because it's so stupid. But I don't really like this section. So it's just like abrasive, you know, it's like a lot of cartoons being really noisy and it's just not for me. So I give it a 2. The lightsaber battles.
It's like sand getting in everywhere.
It just gets everywhere. It's coarse. It's annoying. It's computer generated. I don't like it. The lightsaber battles, Yoda's is amazing, but Anakin's and Obi-Wan's is kind of weird and kind of mediocre, in my opinion. Like the logistics don't make sense. It's not really grounded in reality. But interestingly enough, I do feel like Yoda's fight is kind of grounded in reality, even though one of the combatants is like completely computer generated. So there's just like all the joy is let out of this movie in this section for me. I don't really enjoy this section. So even though I really like Yoda's fight, I'm still going to give that I'll give it a 7 for the lightsaber battles. Okay. And with that, voting is closed.
Voting is closed.
We're going to take a look at our results. Yeah. And Adam, that's so true. We'll be back next week talking about episode 3. Oh, I saw that, Joe. Thank you. Yeah, that's been helpful. Okay. We've got responses. I'm creating a spreadsheet. Hello and goodbye, Pika. What's up, words in the chat? Wow, a lot of people giving 1s for this section.
No! I was getting water. I forgot to mute it.
Okay, so our
Filling
final
filling my
score.
water bottle.
Final score for this section. People really liked the lightsaber fight. People hated Padme's admission of love. People seem to be pretty high on the battles. And our overall score, wow. That's crazy. It's a 5. It's just exactly a 5. Yeah, overall that whole section got a 5.
I'm voting again. Where's the link? I gotta vote.
I gotta double. I gotta double check.
The battle really split the room.
Exactly. I'm double checking that I did that right because that feels weird.
No, it's all those ones.
Sounds right to me. Yeah, everyone hated it.
It's a 5. It's a 5. Okay, so we were at a 6.5, and now we're going down to a 5.8. Wow. So we're barely keeping above Phantom Menace right now.
It's not going to get any better with the next section.
Our final section. I don't know. I think the final section is pretty cool. Let's talk about it.
I haven't read the final section, but it's all 10s.
Okay, so the final section, here's what we're talking about.
Drag this number up.
There's just a little bit of this movie left. Dooku meets with Sidious. We find out that he's actually Darth Tyrannus. So we have the meeting between Darth Tyrannus and Darth Sidious. Yoda, Obi-Wan, and Mace Windu debrief. We get that scene where Yoda says, "Begun, the Clone War has." We see all the clone troopers amassing on Coruscant. And then we get a glimpse of Padme and Anakin's wedding. And then it's over. So my favorite part of this is Dooku and Sidious meeting, because there's like that line earlier on in the movie where Jango says that he was recruited by a man named Tyrannus. So to find out that was actually Dooku, I think is really interesting, who recruited this guy to be like the clone person.
Yeah.
And then also finding out like clearly that Dooku is working for Sidious, because that was kind of like in question up until that point. It was kind of hard to tell whose side he was really on, because he was trying to recruit Obi-Wan to kill Sidious. So I really like that scene. Any scene with Ian McDiarmid in these movies, I think is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who has thoughts about our final sequence?
I sort of forgot that was, I think, again, with time, I just know that Dooku and Tyrannus are the same person. So I kind of forget that the scene was kind of a surprise, or that was a reveal even.
Yeah.
Because, I liked the ending. I don't know what else. I actually really remember liking the big epic scene and seeing like the Star Destroyers and that kind of ominous, like, like, and that who's good, who's bad. I was seeing the beginning of the Empire basically, and kind of I liked that scene. Music.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that moment. Like when you realize that the good guys are the Empire in this moment. It's like it kind of messes with your brain a little bit, seeing all these, stormtroopers, on Coruscant and these Star Destroyers, but then it's like the good guys are in charge still. And then you see, Palpatine up top kind of overlooking the whole thing. It's like, oh, I see what's happening now. Like this is the beginning of the Empire, and I didn't realize that. I thought this was the Republic. Like, it's really interesting. I really like that stuff.
Well, and I feel like it also makes it, because even though at the end of this movie, technically it looks like, again, the good guys won, they win the battle. This scene kind of makes it, again, kind of rhyme better with Empire Strikes Back being the middle movie, like ending on a darker, more ominous note. So I like that.
What about the wedding? It's just crazy that these two people got married after like hanging out for a couple of days. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, no, the wedding, like, again, her outfit was great. Beautiful wedding dress. 10 out of 10 for a costume design for Padme. The one little thing that was kind of, I don't know, when she like takes his hand and then takes his robot, like creepy, like robot hand, like, I don't know if they either didn't yet have the technology with the skin that Luke has in Empire Strikes Back, or this was kind of done like underground medical center or something, so he didn't get like the top. But it's a nice visual of like, ooh, again, him becoming more machine than man, and her, I don't know. So
this is an extended scene where she's
evil. Never mind.
Everyone had answers.
Yeah. Go, Doug. Doug, tell us what you were saying.
So quiet. Wait, am I talking still? I was done.
Yeah, go for it, Doug. Or Ryan, anybody.
No, I was only going to say that the end scene is evident that there was a scheduling conflict between Anakin's surgery for his human skin over his robo.
Oh.
Doug's frozen. Doug's in carbonite.
Technology is as controversial as this movie itself. All right, we lost Doug. Ryan, what were you going to say?
This is the new symbol for things being frozen.
Yeah.
I was going to say it was just a joke. It was just a joke. It was a stupid joke. It was just a stupid joke.
Well, Ryan, what do you think of the ending sequence?
The machine part of him is the evil.
It's his evil hand.
Yeah, it's his evil
His
hand.
evil side.
And then the more of him, that's less of him. He's more machine now. I want to see what ratio from machine to man he does become. Precise. I want numbers on that.
Well, it's more. That's all we know.
What do you think about the Death Star plans? They have the Death Star plans.
Yeah, Joe was saying in the chat.
It's like, wow.
I kind of like this, but it's also like, why did it take them 30 years to build this thing? You know, like or 20 years, I guess. It doesn't quite make sense to me that they'd been working on the Death Star quite this long. I mean but it's fine. I'll forgive it. It's fine. Yeah. That's true.
I could see it taking 20, 30 years. It used to take them 20, 30 years to build like a cathedral. And this is kind of...
But then they built the second Death Star in like 6 years.
That's true. Well, they already knew how to do it.
Yeah.
Experience.
Yeah.
No, that is true.
Your first Death Star is your hardest Death Star.
Yeah.
It's like in Contact when they built 2 machines. He's like, why build one when you can have 2 for twice the price?
You had to build a failsafe. That's space rules.
Well, as far as our voting is concerned for this last section, I just put everything together because there's just a bunch of little snippets. I don't feel like there's quite enough to vote separately on. So let's vote. This is the entire final sequence. What do you guys think? What is our final rating? If you're watching chat, you can go ahead and click that link. And Justin, that's true. They could have been building the second Death Star for a while before we saw it.
That's true.
Yeah.
They were already partially complete.
And we know that Galen Erso is the reason they were able to make the laser work, but they could have been building the structure for years before then.
No, but they called it a weapon, so it has a little dish.
So Ryan, what's your rating for this last section?
Oh, give it a 4.
Why a 4?
I'll give it a 4 because I'm happy the movie is almost over. No, I don't know. The first time I saw this, I was spellbound by tiny lightsaber battle, tiny lightsaber Yoda. But I hate it. No, I didn't hate it, but it really bugged me. I don't like all the choices they made. I think the clones are stupid. And I think the fact that that's what the Clone Wars is bugs me. But to be fair, having a bunch of clones and people, that has been done before, and it is hard to do, and he could barely do this story. There's a lot of fun stuff in the end. I don't like this movie. I think it is bad, and I gave the end 4 stars, which is not quite as much as I rated the whole movie. I'm glad it was over. They got married. Yeah, that's gonna end well. How long you guys give it? One more movie?
What about you, Jenny?
7. In terms of just the ending, right? The ending part.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. There's nothing that I hate about it. I mean, the wedding, obviously, I've stated my feelings on that whole romance, but there's no dialogue in the wedding. So thank God they saved us from having to listen to their wedding vows.
I promise to cut down on my murder of sentient beings
My
in
God.
my effort to protect you.
So I'm grateful to that. Yeah,
Empire
7 cause...
ends on a down note, and the wedding is part of the down note of this. It's like another sad thing that happens at the end of this movie.
I mean, seriously. But I like I love the shot of the not just Star Destroyers and the music, the Empire theme, and solid 7.
What about you, Doug?
I gave it a 6. It's fine. Like I said, this is clearly evident that Anakin had a hard time scheduling his robot skin hand replacement with the availability of Padme's chosen, I would guess, old family friend to officiate the secret wedding, who probably Anakin comes back and murders and buries out in the desert of Tatooine afterwards, so no one knows his secret marriage shame.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Don't go
it's a
digging
6
around that moisture farm.
There's a lot of secrets buried on the moisture farm.
I like this final sequence. I think the meeting between Sidious and Dooku is awesome. The Jedi debrief I like.
I like that. That.
What
I don't like about it is so much of this movie. It's like an outline for future better things to fill it in later.
Yeah.
It sets a lot of. It doesn't fix anything, and it sets a lot of problems up for other things to fix in interesting ways in the future. It's just loudly bullying its way forward through the chamber of canon, setting markers that other things have to deal with.
That's Star Wars, though. Like, that's what Star Wars is.
Yeah, that's Star Wars.
Always
Star Wars. The movies do things the TV shows have to fix. Fine.
And the books fill in, and everything makes everything else better.
The whole Tyrannus thing, it's only like after repeatedly watching this movie and watching the shows, I'm like, oh, I get it. Dooku is Tyrannus, and Tyrannus is secretly funding the clones, and Dooku is publicly supporting the robots, and that's how all this works. And that's why Boba Fett, who was the basis of the clones, runs to the heart of the robot army. Like, that doesn't make sense on the surface, but once you fully grasp what's going on, it's like, it makes a kind of sense. A 6.
I like the ending sequence. I'm disturbed that Anakin and Padme got married, but I've been disturbed by their relationship the whole way through, so at least it's consistent. And that moment where you kind of realize that the Republic is turning into the Empire is really stunning. I'm going to give it a 7. I'm going to give it a 7. I'm going to give it an 8. I talked myself up.
I thought of, just because I want to throw Anakin and Padme a bone, I thought of the line that I liked when he says something like, "Oh, this is your idea of a diplomatic solution," and she goes, "I call it aggressive negotiations." I was like,
a good callback.
I like that. That was cute.
Good banter. Good callback.
There you go.
They did one good banter in this movie.
I liked that moment.
The flirt meter is bumped up from 0 to 1.
Yeah.
All right, are you guys ready for our verdict? So this final section
or for the whole? Okay.
The final section got a 7. It got a 7.1. So let's plug that in, and we're about to get our final number.
It's gonna be like 6 something, or no, like 5.9, maybe 6.0.
Okay, well here's where we started. Jenny guessed a 7. Ryan said 5. I said 6. Doug said 7. And then all of us combined with chat was a 5.1. And the final result...
Wait, I wasn't guessing. I was giving you what I thought. That was my correct assessment of this movie.
Excuse me. But the final result is a 6! I win! It's a 6! It's exactly what I guessed it would be.
He's so excited. He knew already.
I already knew! It's a six.
You had to wait 1 more second.
It's a 6.01. So I'm right there. I'm so proud of myself.
Be proud of your mediocre agreement with the masses.
And then the great thing about this is that episode 1 was a 5.4, and this is just very slightly better. And that feels right to me. Like, that feels right to me, you know? What do you guys think?
I remember thinking when I saw them, even though when they came out, I didn't really like any of them, I did think that each one got progressively a little bit better.
Amanda's trying to ignite Wiggate right now, and I'm not having it. I will not engage on any wig or dress talk. That's something from Doug Space 9, from Doug and I's Deep Space Nine show. We haven't even attempted to do that during COVID, but we should. Because I missed Doug Space 9. I'm so proud of us, you guys. And you know what? I'm actually excited that the final score was different than the average from the beginning, because last time it was like exactly the same. And that makes me feel good. It's like this format is not it didn't take us 3.5 hours to come to the same conclusion that it took us 20 minutes to come to. So that feels nice to me.
Well, what I'm proud about is I kept track of all of my 23 individual votes for the segments of this.
Yes.
And came up with an average.
Yes.
My initial vote was a 7 for this movie. My average of these 23 segments done drunkenly independently, 7.08.
Wow. That's awesome.
I was right. My own gut instinct bared out on individual analysis.
Adam asked about our initial. I love that, Doug. That's awesome. Our initial average was 5.1. I did the math a little differently this time, where last time I didn't have the panelists vote, and then we like averaged chat separately. This time we all voted together, and it was a 5.1. But we could take out the numbers from everyone else. Maybe I'll do that for next week, just so we can see what chat had voted without the panelists. I think we'll go back to that way next week. That was my mistake. And I can go back and figure that out, but it'll take a minute, and I don't want to do it while we're streaming. Uh-oh, I'm seeing a bad lag on the stream. Are we still live?
Completely off topic, but I just realized that my Baby Yoda doll is a pencil holder. And now I think that Baby Grogu, I think this is an Easter egg that he is going to get a lightsaber and hold this pencil.
Wow.
You can steal it from the librarian lady.
This is what Baby is like.
Oh, hey guys, Atalki has to go, but before he goes,
can you find an appropriate size lightsaber?
This is
put in his hand.
Guys, one sec. This is very important. Very important. Before Atalki goes,
I'm gonna make Baby Grogu his own lightsaber.
Atalki is our first ever Mercury Fleet Elite member, and I just have to say a special shout out to Atalki. Thank you so much. And then I've redone our credits. I've redone our credits so that Atalki gets some extra credit in there. So Atalki, thank you so much for being the first ever Mercury Fleet Elite member for the channel memberships. And if you guys want to support this stream and see your name in the credits, you can click the join button.
Yeah.
So before we go, we just got to say Jenny makes these amazing candles. I just got mine, my ET candle that I'm super excited about. We'll get a link in the chat if you guys want to take a look at Jenny's stuff. She makes a lot of Star Wars stuff. And then Doug and Ryan make my new favorite podcast, Game Pass. So search for that on any podcast app. And yeah, credits are coming. So thank you guys so much for being here. This was an amazing stream. So much fun. Next week, we'll be back with the trial of episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. And it's going to be fantastic. So thank you, Doug, Jenny, and Ryan for being here. You guys are awesome. We appreciate you so much. Thank you, chat, for being here. Thank you for everyone who liked the stream. We appreciate that. We'll see you next week for episode 3. And until then, Google says it's Game Pass or Pass. It's called Game Pass. Game Pass.
There might be another one that's called Game Pass. That's not.
Well, I'll fix that, Adam. I'll fix that in Nightbot. But yeah, their podcast is awesome. I really, really enjoy it, and I highly recommend the rest of you check it out. It's super fun.
Thank you.
All right, guys, this has been epic. So fun. You guys are amazing for being here. Thank you so much. Until next time, stay nerdy out there.
And good luck on Ilum getting a kyber crystal from her little baby Grogu. That's not an easy fight.
My
We've all
quest
been there.
begins.
Cold, miserable, but you get to pick the color. You get to pick the color you're saving.
I can do it. I'm unemployed right now. I have all the